Hey guys! This is part 3 of What If Naruto Was Smart and a Seal Master. Hit like and subscribe if you like this one, and also please check the author in the description. Let's start! Chapter 12, First C-Rank Mission. It was the end of the first month, and the 3 Jonin senseis for the rookie teams met in a bar. They had planned on reviewing their success in training their teams over the last month. I am really satisfied with how far my team has come. While there is still much work to do, they are a well-working unit and know how to combine their clan techniques to reach good results in my fake missions. Kurenai said. She had not taken as many missions as the other teams. Instead, she simulated some to train her team's specialty, tracking, better. By the way, I think they are ready for some resistance seals now. Kakashi, would you mind coming around tomorrow to place them? She asked. Sure, I can leave my team alone over lunch break. So I can get to it around 1 tomorrow. Asuma, do you also want the seals for your team? He asked. Yes, I have already forewarned them. While Shikamaru thinks it is troublesome and is thoroughly unmotivated, forcing him to train even if he doesn't want to can only be good for him. The only one motivated on my team is Ino, and she only wants to not lose to Sakura in getting Sasuke's attention. She thinks if she and her team are weak, Sasuke will never notice her. Asuma sighed. I see. Well, placing the seals doesn't take more than 5 minutes per person, so I could do your team after I did Kurenai's. Seems like my team gets a longer lunch break tomorrow. Kakashi mused. That's something I also wanted to know. How comes you are following such a rigid schedule with your team? And why are all the missions you take practically completely out of public sight? Kurenai asked. I just need to get Sasuke away from the worship of the villagers. He needs to realize that nobody will just fall to his knees because he is an Uchiha in a fight. The villagers put that idiotic idea in his head. The Uchihas were also always very arrogant, and arrogance can lead to death on a mission. Sasuke's father Fugaku especially was a very proud and arrogant man, and convinced that being an Uchiha made you practically royalty. As the villagers treated Sasuke like a pampered prince after the massacre, he didn't learn that nobody outside the village would give a damn about it. My harsh training and keeping my team isolated from the villagers is meant to remedy that idea quickly. I also don't want to have Sakura think she could slack off on missions. Those missions your teams do are ones that would give her too much time swooning over Sasuke without repercussions. If she does that on higher ranking missions, it can get her or her teammates killed. I won't let that happen. Sakura is one of the worst fangirls I've ever seen. I know that girls crushing on one boy or another is normal at that age, but if they want to be ninjas, they have to know when they can act on it, and when not. Sakura was raised with the goal of her mother to have her daughter marry into a rich clan, and Sasuke, as the sole heir of the Uchiha fortune, is a prime candidate. Asuma, while Ino is also crushing on Sasuke, is lucky that Ino is from a ninja clan and knows that she has to put her missions first, and not to completely neglect her training. He has a better base to work with, and you are the really lucky one, Kurenai. Hinata never showed any signs of being a fangirl, and wants to become strong enough to prove herself to her father and her clan. While she is timid, with the right support and good teammates that show her they have her back, she can get over that. And I have the feeling your team is well suited for it. Kiba as an Inuzuka was raised with the mentality that the pack is the most important thing to protect, which for him includes his clan and his team. Shino as an Aburame knows about hive mentality, and while he needs to get better in social contacts, he will always protect his teammates and will work to improve the overall strength of a team. You have known Hinata for years and are well suited to help her with the confidence issues. Kakashi said. Yes, I am glad I got such a good team. And since Naruto pointed out the potential dangers Hinata puts her teammates in by holding back in taijutsu training, she is getting better. I tested them on their elemental affinities and Naruto was right. Hinata is a water element. I looked up a few taijutsu styles that are based on water to help her adapt her gentle fist to her element. She seems much happier now that she can develop her own version of the gentle fist. It will need some time until she has it workable, but the first few katas she adjusted work well enough. Kurenai informed them. I am curious, what elements did the other 2 have? Asuma asked. Shino is an earth element, and Kiba a lightning element. She answered. Did you also test your genin on their elements, Kakashi? Asuma asked. Yes. Interestingly, Sasuke is a lightning element, but due to his fire element training from his clan, he also has a strong secondary fire affinity. Sakura is an earth element, and Naruto, well, his primary element is wind, but he also has a strong secondary affinity for water and a nearly equally strong affinity for lightning. Normally you only get that after years of training and training up your affinities. And if I say he is a wind element, I mean he can control the wind instinctively. Kakashi said, Really? Impressive, even I am not that good with wind manipulation. I wonder where he got the information on how to train those affinities. They aren't part of the normal library. Seems he is more of a mystery than everybody thought. Asuma commented, then sinking into deep thought. Kakashi suspected he might be up to Naruto's disguise, as he had been the one to test the blonde's abilities. Indeed. By the way, how did the matches of your teams go? Kakashi asked. Shino won against Choji, Shikamaru won against Kiba, and Hinata won against Ino. Kurenai said, grinning. So we have 4 victories for my team from Sasuke and Naruto. Each of them has 2. Then Kurenai has 3 victories, 2 from Shino and 1 from Hinata. Asuma has 2, 1 from Shikamaru and 1 from Ino. Kakashi summarized. Yes. And next month we wanted to have them do team matches. Or would you rather have them do a task? Asuma said. I think a team obstacle course would be a good exercise. You did teach them tree walking, right? Kakashi asked. Yes, they all can do it by now. So we could include that in the course. If you want, I will design a course and show my ideas to you in 3 days. Kurenai offered. Sounds good to me. Asuma said. No complaints from either. Kakashi answered. At 9 in the morning on Monday morning, Team 7 stood in front of the Hokage and the Chunin on duty in the mission office. Team 7 present for a C-rank mission, Hokage-sama. Kakashi announced. Sasuke and Naruto perked up. They would finally get a better mission than those D ranks. Sakura just hoped she would get by. The last month of training had been hell. She hadn't thought that ninja life was so taxing. In her mother's plans it always sounded so easy and glorious. You went to the academy, got placed on a team under a Jonin sensei, got taught a few things over 1 or 1.5 years. In the best case you had 1 or 2 cute and rich boys from an important clan on the team, seduced one, and in the end you retired and raised your children. During missions the boys did all the hard work, while you were a proper lady and only needed your female gal to do the job. That was complete rubbish. While she was on the same team as Sasuke, the richest and cutest of all the boys in her class, she simply didn't have any time to even ask him out on a date. She couldn't take care of her body like she did in the academy, and instead of letting her hair open so Sasuke could admire its length and silkiness, Kakashi had ordered her to either tie it up or cut it, as it would only get in her way. She would never just cut it, and so she now wore her hair in a ponytail. She hated that she looked more like Ino this way. And while she had tried to follow the low-fat diet her mother had come up with, it just didn't work. If she kept to vegetables, fruit, and low-fat meat, she didn't have the energy to last through training, and Kakashi-sensei didn't care at all. He just told her she knew what she should eat, and if she didn't follow her sensei's instructions she had to deal with the consequences. So she had told her mother that she needed normal rice balls and sushi for lunch to get through training and not look weak in Sasuke's eyes. While her mother hadn't liked her decision, she had complied. The change in food helped, but as it only came up to the amount of food a normal civilian who did physical work for half a day, she still felt powerless at the end of the day. While she could see that Sasuke adjusted to their level of training after 2 weeks. He was even occasionally discussing strategies with Naruto. With Naruto of all people. Why did he accept Naruto and not her? The only explanation she had was that he saw her as too weak for him. So she had started to make her own lunchboxes. It was more or less the same food Kakashi had given them over the first week of training. It helped her get through the days. If she ate properly for breakfast, for which her mother still slept, and lunch, she had no problems to eat low-fat and mostly salad and fruit in the evenings. She just hoped she wouldn't become ugly from all the muscle she was building up. So you think your team is ready for an easy C rank? Let's see what I have here. Ah yes, this one should only take you 2 days, and considering the training you put them through, it should be easy to do. This is a protection and transport of important supplies for our village. We get a new delivery of medical herbs, rare poisons, special earth and water every month for our hospital. The new delivery has arrived just yesterday evening at the port in Tea Country. You are to take your team to Tea Country, take over the shipment, and seal the boxes with the goods and sealing scrolls. After that you are to bring the scrolls back to Konoha. The Hokage said. Mission accepted, Hokage-sama. Team, get your equipment for a C-rank mission. We are meeting in 30 minutes at the main gate. Kakashi said. Understood. All 3 answered and left through the door. At the announced time the 3 genin stood at the main gate, waiting for Kakashi. He appeared in a body flicker. Okay, show me your equipment. Kakashi said. As this was the first C-rank mission, He wanted to make sure his genin had the proper equipment. Sasuke was first. 30 shuriken in my thigh pouch, 20 kunai in my back pouch, 3 spools of ninja wire, 5 explosive tags and 1 first aid kit sealed in a scroll also in the back pouch. In my backpack I have 4 sealing scrolls, 1 for clothes, 1 for camping equipment, consisting of a sleeping bag, a pot for cooking, metal plate, cup, fork, knife and spoon and a 2-person tent. The third one is for various boxes and the fourth one for extra weapons. I have 3 days' worth of Jakanato's best ration bars and some basic toiletries. Sasuke listed. Good work. Next, Sakura. Kakashi said. Sakura gulped, hopefully she wouldn't be scolded. Her equipment was nowhere near as complete as Sasuke's. I have 20 shuriken in my thigh pouch, 20 kunai, 1 spool of ninja wire, 2 explosive tags, a flash bomb and a first aid kit in my hip pouch. I have a change of clothes, a sleeping bag and a 1-person tent in a sealing scroll, some toiletries and a set of extra shuriken in my backpack. Sakura listed. Take an example from Sasuke what you forgot to pack. While this C-rank mission is a short one and will only take 2 days and we will be able to eat in tea country, you always have to be prepared for the unexpected. On a mission it can happen that you are forced to take alternative routes while transporting something valuable, so don't rely on being able to get food easily. Last, Naruto. Kakashi said. Practically the same things in my pouches like Sasuke except that I have 2 thigh pouches, 1 with shuriken, and 1 with senbons. My first hip pouch resembles Sasuke's, my second one contains my sealing supplies and 2 ration bars. I have 10 pre-made normal explosive seals, 5 modified ones, 5 flash seals, 2 chakra storing seals, and 2 mass storage seals with water. In my backpack I have totally 6 filled storage scrolls and 5 empty reserve storage scrolls. Of the filled scrolls, 1 is for various weapons, 1 for sealed food, 1 for camping equipment, version J3, 1 for transport devices, 1 with additional sealing supplies for greater scale fuinjutsu, and 1 for clothes. In the pockets on my vest I have my selection of poisons and a container with food pills and 1 with blood replenishing pills. Naruto listed. Sakura's mouth hung open. What the hell was camping equipment version J3 and those seals Naruto had mentioned, and where did he get them? And why did he have mass water storage seals with him? Well, they say you can never be overly prepared. Kakashi commented. We will travel as fast as we can. We will run for 3 hours, then we will rest for half an hour and run another 3 hours. After that we should have reached the border to Tea country, from where on we will travel at a slower speed to not appear hostile to the military forces of the country. For this mission I will give you control over the resistance seals. In case of a fight, which isn't that probable, but I won't take any risks, you can release your seals and use your full speed and strength. Once we return, I will take that control away again. Kakashi made a few hand seals and put his hand on the seals of Sasuke and Sakura. Leave the seals activated until you need to release them. You are still in your training phase after all. I will give you full control over your seals after we have done training for 4 months. At that point you should have reached high chunin speed with the training we are doing. Kakashi said. I have a question, sensei. Well, it's more a question to Naruto. How good are you really with fuinjutsu? Sasuke asked. I need to wait for a specialist to really evaluate my skills, but I am way better than I showed until now. Naruto said. Yes, now that you mention it, he will arrive in 1 week for your test. Kakashi said. Naruto nodded. Are you willing to sell me some of those specialized seals you mentioned? Sasuke said. As long as you pay the normal prices, sure. Naruto answered. Sasuke nodded. He had the money, and as long as he could get those seals easily, perhaps even some that weren't readily available at Jakanato's or restricted for higher ranks, it wouldn't matter to him. Okay, now that that's done, let's go. Kakashi said and had his team move out. The journey to Tea Country had gone without problems. Konoha and Fire Country were on friendly terms with Tea Country, so when they changed to visible travel after passing the border, they weren't stopped by the Tea Country military. They reached the harbor of Tea Country around 6 in the evening. Kakashi told them to find an inn where they could eat. After that he would show them a place where they could put up their tents. While Sakura wondered why they couldn't just stay in the inn overnight, she knew better by now than to question her sensei. Kakashi went to check the shipment for Konoha so they could seal it in the morning. After having a nice dinner in the inn, Kakashi showed them the place where ninjas from Konoha normally camped on this mission. As it came up every month once or twice, the local administration had just reserved a spot for the team that got the supplies. Sasuke and Sakura were tasked with setting up the tents, Kakashi checked the area for any nasty surprises and Naruto secured the area with some seals that would keep enemies out and give them some nasty injuries if they tried to force their way through. If any of the local military members wanted to talk to them, all they would need to do was calling out to them after all. The night was quiet though, and at 7 in the morning Kakashi let them have breakfast from a few supplies he had got in the village last evening. Milk, a few eggs boiled in a pot, some rice and vegetables. After eating and a short morning warm-up of running up and down a tree 10 times and then a few exercises, Kakashi led his students to the harbor. There they were greeted by the head merchant who coordinated the shipments for Konoha. "Ah, good morning. Is that you, Kakashi? I think the last time I saw you, you were about the age your students are," the old man said. "Yes, it's me. I didn't think you would remember me after all this time," Kakashi said. "That hair and that mask are nothing you easily forget. And you did this mission pretty often during the war when the other two were still too inexperienced to go to the front lines. Even if your sensei normally didn't accompany you. Now why don't you introduce me to your team?" the old man asked. "Sure, this is my genin team, Team 7. From left to right they are Sakura Haruno, Sasuke Uchiha and Naruto Uzumaki. Team 7, this is Marikomo Takamichi, the head merchant that has been supplying Konoha with the goods we are going to transport for decades," Kakashi said. "Did you say Uzumaki? A real Uzumaki?" Mr. Takamichi asked, surprised. "Did you know the Uzumaki clan?" Naruto asked. "Indeed. I traveled to Whirlpool Country quite often as Uzushio was allied with Konoha. It's a shame what happened to the village. I had thought they got all the Uzumakis back then. But as I see, one must have survived in Konoha." "Who are your parents, Naruto?" Mr. Takamichi asked. "Sorry, I don't know. I'm an orphan. The Hokage only told me that Uzumaki was my mother's name," Naruto said. "Ah, too bad. Great ninjas the Uzumakis. Devils with those seals they created. And damn good with the sword as well. I once had a guard for my ship from Uzushio in the Second Great War. I was a young sailor back then. We were attacked by Kirinin. But even the sword fighter they had with them didn't stand a chance against Zoria Uzumaki. It was one of the most impressive fights I have ever seen, and I have seen a lot," Mr. Takamichi said. "Well, enough of the past, you and I have jobs to do. Kakashi, you inspected the goods yesterday. Was everything in order?" "Yes, like always, everything we ordered is there in top quality, Marikomo," Kakashi answered. "Okay, are your students trained in sealing things in scrolls?" Mr. Takamichi asked. "They are. By the way, Naruto, we need 3 more scrolls. I checked the ones we got at the mission office yesterday evening and 3 are too old that I can safely say they can be used," Kakashi said. "No problem, Kakashi-sensei." Naruto offered and took out 3 of his 5 empty storage scrolls. Kakashi coordinated where they got to work, and after 1 hour all the crates and boxes were safely sealed away and the scrolls in the genin's backpacks. "It was nice seeing you again, Kakashi," Mr. Takamichi said when Team 7 was ready to leave again. "Likewise, Marikomo. I guess we'll do this mission again in the near future. So we'll be seeing us soon," Kakashi replied. "Well, perhaps next time I can invite you for lunch. You were really fast with your work. It shows that you trained them well, Kakashi," Mr. Takamichi said. "Thank you. Goodbye." Kakashi said. "Goodbye." The 3 genin also said. Kakashi led his team out of the village, and once they were outside he increased their traveling speed to low running speed. They would speed things up once they were out of Tea Country. Team 7 reached the gates of Konoha without interruption late in the afternoon. Kakashi signed them in and led them to the Hokage Tower to deliver the scrolls and give the short report. Normally the team that got the mission would deliver the scrolls to the hospital directly, but with their animosity towards Naruto, he didn't want to give them the chance. When they entered the mission office, Kurenai and Team 8 were just busy with debriefing. Team 8 back from D-rank mission to weed the garden at Mrs. Ukanari's. Mission successfully completed. The garden was clean after 2 hours, Kurenai said and handed over the signed mission scroll. "Performance of my genin will be in the written report." "Okay, noted." "Next," the Chunin said. Team 7 back from C-rank mission to get delivery from Tea Country for the hospital. No problems during the mission. We got to Tea Country Harbor in about 8 hours. The goods are the usual quality, and are sealed in these 20 storage scrolls. 3 of the scrolls from the armory that were supplied to my team for the mission were too old to be safely used, and were replaced by Naruto Uzumaki from his private stock. He needs to get them either back or replaced by new ones after the goods are unsealed at the hospital. I recommend a check of our stock seals that are older, like the storage scrolls, by Dark Phoenix. Performance of my students will be in my written report," Kakashi said. Why did Team 7 already get a C-rank mission, Kurenai-sensei? Kiba complained. Because they got special training and Kakashi is one of the strongest jonin in the village. You will be taking C ranks once you are proficient in the basic skills for the higher ranked missions and have done the required number of D rank missions. Kurenai answered. What does the strength of Kakashi-sensei have to do with the decision, Kurenai-sensei? Hinata asked. Her stuttering had lessened a lot, even if she still had a long way to go. In case something unplanned happens that is above the abilities of the genin, the jonin-sensei will protect them. And the more inexperienced a team is, the stronger the jonin-sensei needs to be to make sure the team will be safe. I was only promoted to jonin half a year ago. Kakashi has been a jonin since he was 13. Kurenai explained. All the genin were impressed hearing that and looked at Kakashi in awe. Even Naruto was very impressed by that. Okay, Team 7, you can go home. Be at the gates tomorrow morning at 6 like usual. He said. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. They said. Team 8, you're also dismissed. Meeting is tomorrow at 8 in our training ground. Kurenai said. Yes, Kurenai-sensei. Team 8 answered. Dark Phoenix? Kurenai asked Kakashi once the genin were outside. The new sealing specialist the Hokage has hired for supplying the village with seals. The former one died a few weeks ago and Dark Phoenix replaced him. For security reasons he is only known by the codename. Kakashi explained. So that's the reason for the new seals in the armory and at Jack and Nato's. The Chunin in the mission office said. When I got the scrolls for your mission, Kakashi, I saw that the stock has been filled up and that some new variants have been added. Indeed. From what Hokage-sama told me, Dark Phoenix is really good. Kakashi confirmed. So you got to meet Mr. Takamichi again. How was he? Kurenai asked. Cheery as always. Told some old stories while we were sealing the boxes and crates. This time from when he had just started sailing on a merchant ship and they were entered by Kiri ninjas in the Second War. Kakashi said. Yes, I remember when my team got that mission. He was always good at telling stories. Kurenai remembered. That he is. Well, I'll be off. Kakashi said. Me too, I have planned meeting Anko tonight. Kurenai said. Have fun. Kakashi said and left in a body flicker. Chapter 13. Investigation Results. Danzo and the Sandaime Hokage sat in the completely sealed Hokage office, looking over the results the investigation by the root agents had had. This is more troubling than I thought. I was aware that you had overlooked quite a few decrees that weren't to the best of the village, but even I didn't know it were this many. Danzo said. Me too. And I suspect I didn't overlook all of them, but that somebody that had access to the stamp of the Hokage did get some passed secretly. As I didn't check all the decrees that went over my desk in detail because I simply didn't have the time, I'll allow to think that some were passed by me, but many of these here I would have stopped for sure. And if there had been an overly large amount of decrees that were placed on my desk, I would definitely have got suspicious earlier. The stamp is kept in the Hokage's office all the time, and the tower is guarded by the ANBU. So somebody inside the tower has got access, or somebody copied the stamp and slipped the stamped decrees into the outgoing paperwork. The Hokage mused. Danzo nodded. He had thought that Sarutobi had got senile in his old age, but even he would immediately say that those many decrees that were passed in the last 12 years that he hadn't been aware of were impossible. There was more wrong in the village than he had thought, and had wanted to change by becoming Hokage himself. My root have also found quite a number of listening devices all over the village and detected 4 probable spies. They are well hidden, but we are keeping them under constant watch now. We hope to follow the small fishes we identified to the bigger ones. We also noticed a strange sealing array in the old Uchiha district. As far as I know, Jiraiya is coming here next week. He should look at the seal and tell us what it is. Danzo said. Yes, that will be best. The Hokage agreed. How do you want to proceed with the problem with the shopkeepers that are overcharging on the taxes? Danzo asked. The root agents had found out that over 60% of the shopkeepers demanded 2% more taxes on the goods than the Hokage had allowed. With that great number, nobody had ever detected anything when they just bought their normal groceries. They had just assumed it were the cost for delivery, and the like that made them more expensive. Well, they'll get messages that massive additional payment on taxes plus a fee for tax evasion is to be paid to the village coffers. They can decide if they want to keep their prices like they are or lower them to the appropriate level. No matter what they do, they'll be exposed for their trickery publicly. I'll publish a list with all tax dodgers to make clear that I won't tolerate them. I'll also publish a list with the decrees that are voided as of now. That will take away a good part of power that the civilian council and the wealthy merchants that bribe them have in the village. and I'll make sure Naruto is out of the village when I do this. I'm relatively sure they will try to vent their anger on him, and there is no possibility to say what he will do in retaliation. The Hokage said. You don't talk about pranks, do you, Hiruzen? Danzo asked. No, I talk about at least broken bones and at worst massive damage from wind elemental jutsus. Naruto won't take the abuse anymore. He is too close to exploding. And he has the skill to back his threats up. The Hokage said. Shouldn't you keep him under close watch then? Danzo asked, wanting to know the reason why the Hokage didn't do it. What do you think Kakashi is doing all day? I'm no idiot, Danzo. Kakashi is doing damage control before things get out of control. There is a reason I put him as the sensei of Team 7, and it's not Sasuke's potential Sharingan. The Hokage said. An interesting deception you came up with. Everybody in the village and outside will assume his main job is getting Sasuke Uchiha ready and training him in using his Sharingan once it awakens. But with him being one of the ninja in the village that always kept Uzumaki safe and who doesn't hate the boy, you bind Uzumaki closer to the village. The training matches with Teams 8 and 10 have the same intention, getting more ties to the village so in case something happens to you, his main tie at the moment. If he feels accepted by his peers, he won't be as tempted to desert the village as he might otherwise be. The effect is increased as all members of Teams 8 and 10 are the children of the current heads of their clans. So he will be on good terms with the future Shinobi Council. And it would be fatal for the village to lose the power of the Kyuubi and Uzumaki's own impressive skills to another village like Kumo. Danzo said. I see you haven't got stupider in your old age, Danzo. The only way Naruto can manage to have an easier life in the village is to be accepted by those he will be working with in the future. I'm absolutely sure that he will be promoted to Chunin after the exams in Konoha. Therefore he will be leading teams of Genins on missions soon. From what I have heard from the senseis for the new teams, there are some really talented ones this year. Some won't be ready by the time the exams come to Konoha. But the teams will be able to get through the first two phases and show the world the power of Konoha's new generation. And these genin represent the most well-known clans we have. Nearly all of them are the clan heirs. The Hokage said. Yes, indeed an important generation. Danzo agreed. They continued to plan how to get the embezzled money back into the village coffers. It was Friday and the three Jonin senseis had called their teams for the first team task of their bet. Okay, today you are going to show your skill in teamwork. We have set up an obstacle course you will have to complete as a team. Each team will go through the course timed and watched by us. There are certain criteria we will be looking for, but we won't tell you what they are until the course is absolved by all teams. We will decide which team will do the course first by drawing matches. The longest match will go first, then the second longest, and the shortest last. Asuma explained. He held out his hand with 3 matches for Kakashi and Kurenai. They both drew one match, and then compared the length. Okay, Team 10 goes first, then Team 8, and last Team 7. Kurenai said. Team 7 and 8 sat down while Team 10 walked to the starting line. The course is marked with these markers. Asuma said, showing a round paper about the size of a tennis ball. They are in 3 colors. 1 for each team. You have the yellow marker, Team 8 has the blue marker, and Team 7 has the red marker. You are to collect all markers during the course. The obstacles you'll have to deal with will become obvious when you are on the course. We have placed some chunin in the course that will observe you and take notes on your performances. As we are not objective, they'll give the points for this exercise. They have the lists what to look for. So if you spot Irika Yumino, Kotetsu Higain or Izumo Kamizuri, you'll know that they are part of the test. The genins nodded and Team 10 got ready to go. When Kakashi gave the signal, they sped off. So how is your new taijutsu style coming along, Hinata? Naruto asked. It's taking time, but I have a better feeling than before. And Kiba and Shino are great. They help me training all the adapted moves and give me pointers how they think I can improve. Hinata answered shyly. That's great. I'm sure you'll get it down and then be a force to be reckoned with. Naruto replied. You really think so, Naruto? Hinata asked timidly. Sure. You are a good kunoichi. You just need to realize it and train hard to get your taijutsu style to fit you better. And when you get a few surprises in your repertoire that nobody expects you to have, you'll show them all. Naruto said. What kind of surprises do you think of, Naruto? Shino asked. Well, every ninja, especially those from a clan that is well known, should have at least 1 or 2 surprise moves that can take an opponent off guard. I mean, take you for example, Shino. You are an Aburame, and as soon as an opponent finds that out, and has some information on your clan in general, they will know that you work with your symbiotic bugs. So they will use attacks that can keep your bugs away from them or are generally effective against them, like widespread elemental attacks. Or they could, if they have the time and the materials, come up with bug repellent or bug spray. Now if you could also use, for example, Kenjutsu, you would have an advantage they didn't expect. I know that Aburames, thanks to housing the bugs, have very little chakra that can be used for jutsus outside your clan techniques, so perfecting using a weapon would give you an ace. Naruto explained. That sounds logical. I'll have to think about it. What would you think Hinata could learn? Shino asked, nodding his consensus to the suggestion. At least some ninjutsu to give her distance attacks. The gentle fist style is a close-range style. But I think with her great chakra control she would gain the biggest advantage with genjutsu. She could trap her opponents in a genjutsu and then strike quickly. Naruto said. And what about me? Kiba asked, interested. You specialize in a feral taijutsu style in cooperation with Akamaru. That gives you short and middle range. What is your element, Kiba? Naruto asked. Lightning. Kiba answered. Then your first step, once you have mastered the basic chakra control exercises, meaning doing them instinctively without thinking about it in every situation, could be to incorporate lightning in your style. If you covered your hands in lightning before you hit an opponent, the attack would be more devastating. Depending on how good you learn to control it, you could activate and deactivate it with a simple thought, which meant it would be harder to figure out just what you did. I don't think normal weapons would work for you, as it would be hard to include in your normal style. I don't know if that is a crazy idea, but can Akamaru use jutsus? Naruto asked. Yes, he can. You mean he should learn some jutsus, as nobody would expect a dog to use them? Kiba asked. Yes. And branch out from what your clan normally does. I'm not that knowledgeable about how you train your dogs, only that your combination attacks can be devastating. Naruto answered. Team 8, your turn. Kakashi called and they saw that Team 10 had returned. Team 10 got some instructions and then sat down. How was it? Sakura asked. Sorry, we got orders to not tell you anything. Shikamaru said. We should have expected that much. Sasuke said. So, how is training with the resistance seals? You got them placed last week, didn't you? Naruto asked. Yes, we did. They are so troublesome. I feel so slow. While I don't like haste, that's being ridiculous. Shikamaru answered. I'm sure I know a good way to get you used to them faster. Naruto said. What is that way, Naruto? Ino wanted to know. Don't tell her, she'll be even more troublesome. Shikamaru pleaded. Shut up, Shikamaru. I won't be held back by your constant laziness. Ino shot back. Okay, the way you get used faster to the seals is by sending chakra to your muscles. Once you are used to the seals with chakra and can move like before, you reduce the amount of chakra until you don't feel the seals without chakra anymore. And if you want to motivate your teammates into more training, well, let me tell you that hunting others with senbons and the like lets them run faster. Naruto said, grinning evilly. Sadist. Sakura mumbled. Be glad that Kakashi-sensei only allows my clones to pepper you with rubber balls during the dodging exercises. Naruto gave back. What kind of dodging exercises does your team do? Choji asked. Insane ones? Sakura answered. Funny ones. Naruto said. I get to surround all members of our team with shadow clones and pelt them with rubber balls, or in Kakashi-sensei's case with senbons. Though I'm not allowed to use the poisoned ones, sadly. Like I said, insane. Sakura said. Your sensei participates in your training? Choji asked, surprised. He doesn't only participate. He does more physical training than even Naruto. But that could have been expected by a former ANBU. We are really getting stronger under him. Sasuke said. Did you learn any new jutsus, Sasuke? Ino swooned. No, not yet, but we learned tricks to better use the ones we already know. Kakashi-sensei told us we would learn some jutsus once he finishes our basic training. Should happen at the end of the month. Sasuke answered contently. He had first been disgruntled that Kakashi wouldn't teach them any new jutsus before their basic training was done, but once he had experienced just what Kakashi considered basic training, he wasn't as angry anymore. He knew he was building up his body strength and his speed. He was bettering his chakra control and his reserves and learned many important skills for missions. He had found out about practical methods to ease transport, how to think like a ninja and improve his overall awareness. Kakashi was strict, fair, but also had a sense of humor, and he knew how to train really hard. It was perfect to get closer to Itachi. Team 7, your turn. Kakashi called while Team 8 just ran over the finish line. Sasuke, Sakura, and Naruto went to the start line. Kurenai gave the signal, and they were off. Naruto took point, Sakura the middle and Sasuke the rear. Okay, keep your eyes open for the red markers, Naruto said in a businesslike voice. Both his teammates knew he had changed to mission mode and would treat this with utmost professionalism. Sasuke was the first to spot a marker. Naruto had them stop and look if there were hidden traps. This time there were not, and Sakura got the job to collect the marker and store it in her bag. Naruto suspected that this would be graded for teamwork, so they needed to involve Sakura somehow. They took off again and reached the river. In the middle was the next marker. So do we need to swim over there next? Sakura asked. Not necessarily. None of the members of teams 8 and 10 was wet. And I doubt they know water walking yet. So there has to be another way to do this. Look around if there is a clue somewhere, Naruto commanded. Naruto, there is a kunai line here with a red point on the end of the handle, Sasuke said from the direct shore of the river. I guess this is a target practice task then. Perhaps we get the marker if we hit the red marker bullseye. Naruto mused. Okay. I'll do the throw, you cover me. I don't want to be surprised by any nasty ideas Kakashi-sensei could have come up with, Sasuke said, and Naruto nodded, taking out his kunai, covering for Sasuke. Sasuke aimed and hit perfectly. In the place where the kunai had been, another kunai with a marker tied to it was thrown at. Naruto looked at the source of the kunai and saw Kotetsu waving from a tree. Sakura collected the kunai and the marker, and they continued their quest. The next marker was hidden in a trap field, which they needed to disable before getting the marker. Nothing difficult for Naruto. They had to climb a tree to get the next marker from a bird's nest. They let Sakura get it while Naruto and Sasuke fended off the projectiles that Azuma was throwing at them to keep them from getting their marker. The next part was crossing a slim log over the river, nothing difficult with the tree walking exercise. The next marker was harder to get. It was down in a pitfall full of hungry foxes. Naruto solved the problem by having Sasuke secure his ankles, hanging down from the log over the pitfall and distracting the foxes with a dead rabbit he had in a storage scroll. When the foxes were done with the rabbit, Naruto was already up long ago. This obstacle was followed by a crawl-in course where the genin had to get a marker from under a series of nets. Getting the marker from above wouldn't have worked as the net was made from metal and at the ends lightning seals had been installed that would be triggered if they tried to cheat on this task. Definitely Kakashi-sensei's idea. Naruto being the one to be fastest got the marker while Sasuke and Sakura kept watch. Naruto simply transformed into a squirrel to run under the net and get the marker. The next obstacle was sneaking through a part of the woods where 7 beehives had been placed around the marker. And as they needed to cross the part to get to the finish line, they all needed to get through and couldn't let one member of the team try it alone. Sakura had to contain her fear of insects for this part. She repeatedly told herself that it would be over soon. Sadly, she didn't look out for her way, tripped and alerted the beehive next to her. Shit! Naruto commented and sprang into action. If one beehive was woken, the others would soon follow. Sasuke, we need smoke, he commanded. Sasuke nodded and shot a modified version of his fire jutsu at the dry grass under the beehive. It was enough to distract them and slow them down for Naruto, making 2 clones, one taking Sakura, one covering for the team, himself ripping the marker from its position, and them all running as fast as they could towards the finish line, the bees close behind them. Thankfully, there seemed to be a barrier of some kind that kept the bees contained in a certain area. Once they crossed the finish line, the bees stopped and returned to their hives. Asuma had taken their time and noted it on a clipboard. Okay, you're done. Rest, and meanwhile Kakashi, Kurenai and I will take the points the 3 proctors in the obstacle course have given you and add them to the time points, he said. The 3 genin of Team 7 joined their comrades from the other 2 teams. Got the bees mad at you? Shikamaru asked lazily. Yeah, Sakura tripped directly next to a hive and woke them up. We managed to buy some time by Sasuke smoking them out a bit, but we needed to get out of there fast, Naruto said. How did you get by that damn obstacle? Sakura asked. Choji's food rations are good for something. He had honey-covered biscuits with him. So Shikamaru decided we would place those biscuits around the hives to distract the bees with something better than us and sneak through, getting the marker, Ino said proudly. And we have an expert on insects on our team. Shino just calmed them down with one of his clan jutsus, and we got the marker easily, Kiba proudly stated. What did you think was the most difficult obstacle? Ino asked the others. The pitfall with the foxes. The damn beasts were especially wild when Akamaru and I passed their pitfall. Hinata got a few bad scratches from them, Kiba answered. For us it was the net. It took so damn long to get the marker from under there, Choji said. That was no problem for us. I had Akamaru get it. He is small enough to not have any problems with such an obstacle. Kiba answered. How did you solve that obstacle? He asked Team 7. Naruto transformed into a squirrel and got the marker easily that way. Sasuke answered. Shino and Shikamaru wondered about that. Wasn't the transformation jutsu only an illusion? Perhaps there was an advanced version Naruto knew. With him everything was possible. Finally their senseis and the 3 Chunin came towards them. Okay, we have got the marks Iruka, Kotetsu and Izumo gave you. Totally Team 7 got 16 points. Team 8 comes to 19 points and Team 10 to 20 points. The reasons for the results will be discussed with your Jonin senseis tomorrow. Kakashi said. He was a bit disappointed about the marks of his team, but he had expected them to do even worse with this type of exercise. There had been a huge focus on teamwork, and that was definitely a weakness of his team. Ha, we won! Ino cried jubilantly. She hadn't expected to win, but obviously there had been other criteria than just being fast and getting the tasks done. Sasuke didn't look happy that his team had come out last. He hated losing. He would need to see what the report from Kakashi would entail tomorrow. Perhaps that last obstacle with the bees had been to their disadvantage. In the briefing about the test, Team 7 found out that the reason the other 2 teams had been marked better than them was that Teams 8 and 10 had showed better teamwork and more consideration how to solve the tasks. It had been a team decision. In Team 7 Naruto had mainly given the commands and the others had followed. While they had shown some teamwork in certain tasks like the fox pit or the bird's nest, in others they hadn't. The bees also didn't look good in their stats. It had been a stealth exercise, and with them being forced to forego stealth that had been marked down, their time had been the best of all teams, but that hadn't been the main focus, but brought their points up a bit. Chapter 14, Jiraiya returns. Over the next week they stayed in the village, doing training and some D-rank missions as Jiraiya was expected back any day to evaluate Naruto's skills in sealing, and nobody wanted to risk Naruto being on a mission when Jiraiya returned. It happened on Friday. Of course Jiraiya had been in the village since Thursday morning, but he had used the chance to get some research done. He visited his sensei on Friday shortly before lunch. Hey Sarutobi-sensei, did you miss me? He called out loudly. Jiraiya, it's good to see you. How was your traveling? The Hokage asked and sent out his ANBU and activated his privacy seals. It was good. I'll soon have enough material for my new book. Ika Violence. You said I had to come back to evaluate a potential seal master. Who is it? Did Kakashi go up in his level? Jiraiya asked. No, it's Naruto. I have him supply our armory and the shinobi equipment shops in the village under the pseudonym Dark Phoenix already. Naruto managed to deceive everybody until after his graduation exams from the academy a bit over a month ago. I had Asuma test him in disguise, and Naruto is easily Jonin level overall. The only thing he lacks is experience. All the reports I sent you about Naruto's development can be forgotten. I didn't even know he was that good. I thought that while he had some talent, he didn't use it well enough, but I couldn't really do anything about it. With Naruto being a civilian until he graduated, he was under the jurisdiction of the Civilian Council. And I didn't have the manpower to get him secretly trained, except I'd have handed him over to Danzo, which I wanted to avoid at all costs. The Hokage said. Damn, that is an impressive feat to get to that level so young and additionally keep it a complete secret. How did he get all the training done and got the knowledge? You wrote that you had to exchange the teachers in his class repeatedly to get him some theoretical skills. Jiraiya asked. Yes, until I placed Iruka Umino in that class, who, while not liking Naruto, didn't let his personal feelings cloud his professional attitude. Naruto was actively sabotaged. We now found out that as the teachers couldn't keep him out of class all the time, they didn't teach the whole class properly. When he was present, they concentrated on topics that, while they can be useful for a ninja, aren't vital. Many students failed their genin tests because they didn't get the information that was the most important. I have already initiated some long overdue changes in the village. The academy is now the responsibility of the Shinobi Council. All ninjas are instructed to ignore the orders of the Civilian Council as they are not part of the chain of command, and I have had some of Danzo's root agents help me looking through the decrees that were passed in the 12 years since Minato died. The Hokage informed his student. Do you think it was wise to involve Danzo? Jiraiya asked. It was the only valid option. I can't be sure that the council doesn't have spies of their own in the ranks. While I can order them to not follow orders from the Civilian Council anymore and can enforce that, I can't be sure that some of them don't give them information. While Danzo and his root are not an openly acceptable part of our military due to Danzo's training methods, You know as well as I do that you sometimes have to have ninjas in your village that take care of threats in ways that wouldn't go over well with our customers. I knew since 2 months after I ordered Rude to disband that they didn't but only went underground, literally. There is a system of tunnels under the village where their base is located. I simply put Danzo on the spot. He was informed that I had him in my hand and could easily end him, but as his route were useful, I didn't. While Danzo enjoys the thought to become Hokage through his machinations, he also knows that it's unrealistic to think he could be Hokage long enough or even be considered with his state of body to make a difference in the village. The Hokage explained, "So you are cleaning house. About time if I may say so. You let the council get away with too many things," Jiraiya said, sitting down on the couch of the office. "I know, but you also know how unstable the political situation was after Minato died. We had lost a third of our shinobi, a quarter of the civilians, and on top Minato himself. The clans were fighting for dominance in the village, the civilians were taking over businesses that had lost their owners, dozens of orphans needed to be placed somewhere, and people were calling to execute Naruto to kill the fox. The Uchihas were the leaders in all areas, so letting the civilian council have a bit more power at the time seemed to be a small price to not have the village falling apart. If I had shown favoritism towards Naruto, I would have been out of office faster than I could have blinked. And I was his only real line of defense. With not having a suitable successor for Hokage anymore, after all, the only Sannin that wanted to have the job turned traitor on us, I needed to keep the office for as long as I could and find a new successor. Which I have now, and don't worry, I'm not talking about you. I know you don't want the job," the Hokage said. "Oh, that sounds interesting. Who is it?" Jiraiya asked. "Kakashi Hatake. He is at the moment the Jonin sensei of Team 7, consisting on Sakura Haruno, the daughter of a civilian counselor, Sasuke Uchiha, the last survivor after the massacre Itachi committed, and Naruto Namikaze," the Hokage said. "So he knows about his parents and the fox?" Jiraiya asked for confirmation. Yes, he knew about the Kyuubi since shortly before the Uchiha massacre, he overheard 2 Uchihas that had beaten him up and left him bleeding in an alley talking that he should die for being the container of the fox, and about his parents he found out coincidentally while cleaning the storage after a prank. He was cut by a falling Nodachi in the arm and some blood spilled on the box Minato kept his important documents, and a few memorabilia in. I know Naruto has a secret hideout where he lives and trains, but I don't know where it is and he refuses to tell me anything, stating that it is the only safe place in the whole village for him and he had worked too hard to keep it a secret to give it up now. From the test Asuma put Naruto through, he is low Jonin level in using weapons, Jonin level in Taijutsu, high Jonin level in Ninjutsu, we guess Jonin level in Genjutsu. But as he is immune to lower-level Genjutsu, we can't be really sure about it. We need to have a Genjutsu specialist test him there. His Fuinjutsu is high class, but the last evaluation you should do, and he is about solid Chunin level in the area of poisons. We give him half a year of missions and training by Kakashi to make Chunin, then half a year of leading experience with teams under his command for Jonin," the Hokage said. "Does he know I am his godfather?" Jiraiya asked. "I haven't told him and he didn't mention it. I don't know if that information was in Minato's or Kushina's journals at their home. Naruto found it after he found the contents of the box and got his family's jutsus, sealing knowledge and some other things from there. But he didn't move in there as it is too well known that his father lived there. He didn't want to have the villagers after his head more than they already were. You'll have to see how he reacts to you. If he knows and holds you responsible for his hellish childhood for abandoning him, you'll have to try to work on your relationship. I know he respects you for your skills in sealing, and if you explain to him why you couldn't take him with you out of the village, he'll probably understand it. Naruto is smart, and knows to weigh arguments against each other," the Hokage informed Jiraiya. "Okay, so where would I best meet Naruto?" Jiraiya asked. "I can either send a messenger to get him here or you could go to Training Ground 7 and watch his team train until they have lunch break. Normally that is around 12:30. Though it can vary depending on Kakashi's training exercises. He doesn't let his team rest much. That is another point you should know. While Kakashi is getting back to his old strength and will train to surpass his level from his time in ANBU to get ready to take over as Hokage, he is trying to connect both Sasuke and Naruto more with the village. Naruto is a flight risk due to the treatment of the villagers. If they attack him, we'll have to let the medics in the hospital go extra shifts. He won't let them treat him like their punching bag anymore. And you know that attacking a ninja is a punishable offense, and the ninja in question is allowed to retaliate. He told me that if he hadn't been sure he would have been hunted by the ANBU and brought back soon after we noticed him missing, he would have left years ago. Jiraiya realized that this was really serious. The village would never let their Jinchuriki go, but it wouldn't do Naruto any good if he got into that situation. And if he was really as good as his sensei said, then in perhaps a year or two he could be too strong for any Anbu to catch him. Konoha didn't need another Itachi out there. We horribly failed him. He had figured out that Kakashi is the Anbu who protected him most times in the past, and was the one to always be nice to him. Therefore he really looks up to Kakashi. Sasuke was spoiled by the villagers for being the last loyal Uchiha. The Uchihas had the civilian population deceived really well. He has a superiority complex, doesn't take well to being second best, and thinks as an Uchiha others are bound to treat him like royalty. Kakashi is keeping his team busy with training, something Sasuke doesn't mind at all as it makes him stronger, but the main intention is to keep the team out of the eyes of the villagers and break his idiotic opinions. I don't want to risk the villagers treating Sasuke like a prince and Naruto like a monster all the time on missions. Naruto is also doing solo missions through his clones to earn some more money. Mostly they are craftsman jobs. His reputation very slowly is getting better, but it will take years to get the stupid villagers to accept him as Naruto and not the fox. That is time we can't waste. I have given Kakashi orders to put his team through the grinder. He is to strengthen the old bond he had with Naruto, make sure that Sasuke doesn't think he can get stronger outside the village faster than training under Kakashi, and break Sakura Haruno out of her fangirl mentality. That girl is so screwed up. If she hadn't been the only one with at least some useful skills in her class, I'd never have put her on the team. But that class was really bad in their skills except for the clan heirs, and they were put together as the next Ino Shikucho team and a tracking team with Hinata Hyuga, Shino Aburame, and Kiba Inuzuka. He informed Jiraiya. I see. Well, then I guess to evaluate Naruto's skills I'd better get to meet him personally. Is Training Ground 61 free? Jiraiya asked. Yes, I have reserved it for your use until next Wednesday. Don't mess this up, Jiraiya. The Hokage said seriously. Don't worry. I know I have a lot to make up for with Naruto. The least I can do is helping him with his Fuinjutsu, and see if he is interested in the Toad contract. Jiraiya answered. The Hokage nodded. There also is a big unknown seal in the Uchiha district. Please have a look at it after you are done with Naruto's evaluation. Will do, sensei. Jiraiya said. If anything happens, I'll be with Naruto. Jiraiya left the office through the window. On Training Ground 7, Kakashi just finished the morning training of his team, and told them they could eat lunch. To the wonder of Sasuke and Sakura, Naruto had been more sluggish today. That riddle had been solved when Kakashi asked if Naruto had increased his resistance seal level and got a positive answer. It led to Sasuke silently seething that Naruto was getting even more advanced. While he knew that Naruto was better, he hadn't considered in his calculation that Naruto wouldn't just stop getting better. That led to the realization that Itachi also wouldn't have stopped at his former level. So to be able to kill Itachi, he needed to get to Naruto's level first. He knew he was getting stronger through his training with Team 7. But it was a punch to his pride that Naruto was already so far ahead and was only getting better all the time. Then a white-haired man landed next to Kakashi. Jiraiya-sama, I didn't know you were already back. Kakashi said, greeting the newcomer. Naruto had perked up at the name Jiraiya. Well, sensei told me you had a student for me to evaluate in Fuinjutsu, so I came here to take him with me for the rest of the day if you don't mind. Jiraiya said. No, that's okay. I was already informed that you would do the evaluation of his level once you were back. By the way, is there a new book coming out soon? Kakashi asked eagerly. Ho ho, you still are a fan of my great work. Yes, I'm working on Ika Violence at the moment. It should be ready in 1 or 2 months. Jiraiya said. That's great to hear, Jiraiya-sama. I'm looking forward to it. Kakashi said. Naruto just shook his head. He had known that Jiraiya of the Sannin was a pervert. His father's journal had told him as much, but seeing it in reality was something else. Jiraiya looked at the 3 genin and immediately saw the resemblance Naruto had with Minato. While his facial form was different, he definitely was his father's son. Okay, Naruto, you're going with me. I have reserved Training Ground 61 for the evaluation of your skills in Fuinjutsu. Jiraiya said. Okay. Naruto answered and stood up. He could as well eat on the way to Training Ground 61. Jiraiya led Naruto away, leaving the rest of Team 7 behind. Kakashi-sensei, who is the white-haired man? Sasuke asked. That man is the greatest author in the elemental nations and also Konoha's only acknowledged seal master at the moment, Jiraiya of the Sannin. He regularly comes to the village to give the Hokage updates from his spy network, and while he is here, he'll evaluate Naruto's level in Fuinjutsu. Kakashi said. He's one of the legendary three? Sakura asked in awe. Why would he be interested in Naruto and not Sasuke? She asked. Kakashi sighed. He had hoped he had got farther with breaking Sakura out of her Sasuke worship. I told you why. Naruto is skilled in Fuinjutsu, while Sasuke is not, Kakashi answered. There were more reasons, but he wouldn't tell his team about them. Sasuke, while irritated that Naruto got attention of one of the Sannin and he didn't, knew that with the area Jiraiya excelled that he didn't have a chance to get that attention. And to be honest, he wasn't interested in learning Fuinjutsu either. Sure, it was useful to have the seals to use them on missions, but he didn't want to invest the time it took to learn the art. He couldn't use it while fighting Itachi after all. So he rather worked on getting stronger. Jiraiya took Naruto to the secluded training ground. Okay, I think some introductions are in order. I'm Jiraiya, Toad Sage of Myobokuzen, War of Women, amazingly famous author and awesome ninja. Jiraiya boasted, showing an embarrassing dance with the few toads he had summoned. Not to forget Super Pervert, Dad Sensei and supposedly my godfather. Naruto added, glaring at the man. Jiraiya sobered. So you know. I wasn't sure if Minato and Kushina wrote it in their journals. Jiraiya admitted. The one question I have is why you didn't ever look after me. When I read about you being my godfather, I was so angry. All my childhood I could have had somebody who was there for me, helped me through my life and prevented the assholes in the village, especially the Uchiha clan, from beating me up every chance they got. I had exactly 2 proper protectors. 2 Enbu out of all the many that are under the command of the Hokage. Dog and Weasel. Kakashi and Itachi. And they couldn't be around all the time as they had other missions as well. I know you couldn't have given up your spy network or taken me with you. I would have been a hindrance as a defenseless child during your travels, but why the hell didn't you even visit me when you were in the village? Naruto shouted in the end. I had to find a way to get strong on my own. I'm pretty sure my hideout is one of the old hideouts Orochimaru used. One of the hopefully less creepy ones. There only were a few things that I had to throw out. The rest were things I could use to get stronger. I had to scrounge up weapons from the dead in the Forest of Death after the Chunin exams to get proper training weapons because no shop would sell me anything. I couldn't ask any adult to help me, because they either ignored me or tried to beat me. I was only a child, completely on my own. Even old man Hokage couldn't do more than make laws and enforce them. The problem was he couldn't personally take care of everything, not with me being under the jurisdiction of the civilian council. Do you know what it would have meant to me if I had known there was at least one adult that cared for me? What a few hours of training would have done for me? Naruto asked enraged. You have every reason to be mad at me. I won't deny I made mistakes. I had thought about taking care of you, but as you said, it was too dangerous for you and me. I have too many enemies of my own to take a small child with me on my travels. And if you had been with me, IWA would have added 2 and 2 and would have known you were Minato's son. So I trusted Sensei to keep you safe until you were old enough for me to train you. You probably don't know this, but in the 12 years of your life I stopped 39 assassination attempts from the outside that had you as their target. All the great villages hear rumors and you are a constant topic of the merchant caravan. They talk about that cute blonde boy with blue eyes that is so brave and stands on his own 2 feet living in Konoha. You are right, I could have tried to be there for you when I was in the village. And I did try. But you have to realize that I got dealt a massive emotional wound when your father died, fighting the Kyuubi. It wasn't your connection to Kyuubi that kept me away, it was your looks. You look too much like Minato. I don't have children of my own, Naruto. In the Second Great War, Suna, which we were fighting at that time, had developed a chemical agent that prevented those that were contaminated by it to ever have children. Tsunade, Orochimaru and I as the Sannin were prime targets for them. They also tried to get the White Fang, Tsukumo Hatake, Kakashi's father, but he could escape. All of us were contaminated by that chemical. It was a harsh blow, especially for Tsunade. Orochimaru developed a vaccine against it eventually, but for us it was too late. When I got my genin team, Minato was the one I bonded with most. I liked all my students, but Minato, especially as he was an orphan like me after his parents had died when he was 10, became like the son I knew I never could have. I taught him all I knew even after my students had been promoted to Chunin and my team dissolved. When he told me he wanted me to be your godfather, I was really honored. But then the Kyuubi attack happened and Minato died. I raised you for a year, but that was all I could afford to do as my spy network needed to be maintained, especially with Konoha being massively weakened. My stay while you were an infant could be easily covered up as a show of strength for the other villages. One of the strongest of the village was there, protecting it. When I came back, you were 4. But you looked so much like Minato. I couldn't bear seeing you looking like your father. It tore the wound I had thought had healed open again and again. So I decided, as I couldn't be in the village to help you, I would take care to set up a stipend for you so you wouldn't have to depend on the orphans' fund. Additionally, I left scrolls for you in your apartment when I was in the village. One about hunting and fishing techniques after I found out about the behavior of the shopkeepers, one about farming, and some about basic training techniques I thought would help you. I took out all the ones that were sent to eliminate you from whatever village, and I kept an eye on Orochimaru to make sure he never found out about you existing. While your clans didn't have an exact bloodline, the Uzumaki clan had special chakra, a reason why Kuma once tried to kidnap your mother Kushina. Your clan was known for its longevity, and a child with Namikaze, Uzumaki, and Senju blood would have been irresistible for him. I am really sorry for what you had to go through, but I did what I could in my own grief. Jiraiya said. Naruto pondered the answer. He knew Jiraiya was completely honest. He had seen in his eyes that he meant every word. And the money he got from the Hokage each week in person, after in the beginning somebody had tried to steal his money, had been what had got him through the hardest times. He remembered finding those scrolls when he was 7. It had been the start of his changing his ways. He had found out about a way where he wouldn't have to depend on the village to get by. While his godfather hadn't done his best, he also hadn't completely left him to fight on his own. He had done what he could. He had to admit he couldn't really understand the wounds that losing someone left, but he knew that some people had more problems to deal with it than others. Okay, while I can't say I'm happy about it, I understand it somewhat. And at least you tried to help me. That's more than most others did. And those scrolls really were lifesavers. They got me independent from the supplies I could buy in the village. Without knowing how to properly hunt and fish and grow vegetables, I would probably still be living off ramen. Naruto shuddered. I suggest we start from the bottom. I'll give you the chance to get to know me and teach me what you want to. I'll try to keep an open mind about you and not push you away on principle. Don't expect me to trust you though. I have made too many bad experiences. Naruto said. Jiraiya nodded. It was more than he had been hoping for. Okay, now that the air is cleared, I think we have an evaluation of your skills in Fuinjutsu to do. Sarutobi-sensei said you were of the opinion that you were at a seal master level. How did you come to that impression? Jiraiya asked. I have read every single book about sealing I could find in Konoha. Mostly written by you or Dad. On top of that, I studied the Uzumaki scrolls that Mum had. You stated that the level of seal master was signified by the person attempting to get there having to have complete understanding of all the intricacies of Fuinjutsu, being able to quickly draw the commonly known seals, modify them to their needs, and in the end, once they could tweak existing seals, created their own. Well, I have followed all the steps the books and scrolls described. Once I got the basics down, I found that Fuinjutsu was one art that came to me easily. It was just logical for me how it worked. So tweaking seals was not that hard. And I had masses of shadow clones that could test them for me. I designed some variations of exploding seals. My favorite is a trap version that fires poison senbons on the one triggering them, for storage seals and chakra suppression seals. Then I began creating my own seals. I had read in one of the scrolls I found in my hideout about elemental jutsus, and that only Jonin-level ninja used them. So with my problem with the villagers being out for my life, I decided I needed to learn elemental jutsu. Finding out about my main element was tricky. In the end, I nicked a chakra paper while cleaning the armory as punishment for a prank. I developed a storage seal for elemental chakra once I could use my wind element. I thought once I could use more elements that could come in useful, but after training the water element, which is my secondary, I started thinking about what techniques could get really problematic for me. Fire wasn't much of a problem with the water element as my secondary. Lightning is weak against wind, so only earth remained. I would need a very powerful wind jutsu to really get the upper hand against an earth user. I knew that while the primary element in Konoha is fire, there are a lot that are earth and water users. So to not be at a disadvantage, I needed lightning. But simply developing the affinity at my age was impossible. There are restrictions what my body can take. And with lightning being opposed to my primary affinity, it would be especially hard, so I decided to consort to seals. I worked for 6 months on it, but in the end I managed to get a chakra element converter seal. As long as I supply the seal with the element it is attuned to, it converts it into the element I designed the seal for. In my case, that was wind turned into lightning. Over time, by using many lightning jutsus, I developed the affinity, So now I don't need to rely on the seal anymore, but if I needed a big amount of lightning chakra, that would still be a viable option. I also have some other designs, some that I wanted to discuss with you as I'm not completely sure about some arrays. Naruto told Jiraiya. Jiraiya was really impressed by what he heard. Many had tried to find a converter seal that worked, but had given up considering the amount of fine-tuning it took. If Naruto had found a way, it would indeed validate a sealing mastery. But he would wait until the end to judge his godson's level. It was late in the evening when Jiraiya invited Naruto for a meal in one of the Akimichi restaurants. He assured his godson that with him being there nobody would dare to be rude and that the specific restaurant they were headed to was led by his old student Hiroho Akimichi. He had been wounded in the Third Shinobi War and hadn't been able to continue as a ninja, so he had taken up the second profession the Akimichis were famous for and opened a restaurant. It was going very well. While some people were glaring at Naruto entering the restaurant, many knew just whom he was with and nobody wanted to make a Sannin mad. Jiraiya and Naruto were greeted by the owner personally, who looked at Naruto in shock, then at Jiraiya, then back at Naruto and mumbled something about being blind and should have seen it. "Keep it for you, Yuraho," Jiraiya said warningly. "Of course, Jiraiya-sensei, but why was nobody told?" Yuraho asked. "IWA, Orochimaru, Kumo, Kiri, choose one," Jiraiya said. "I see. Well, what would you like to eat?" Yuraho asked, changing the topic. "Choose what you like, I pay," Jiraiya said. "After all, we have something to celebrate." "Thanks, Jiraiya," Naruto said and looked over the menu. "I'd like to have the small sushi variations for appetizer, the grilled seafood dish with vegetables and rice for main course, and the seasoned salad with yogurt and herb dressing. And I'd like green tea to drink," Naruto said. "I'll take the finger food variations for appetizer, the roasted pork sweet sour for main course with sweet potatoes and rice. I'd also like a bottle of sake with 2 cups," Jiraiya said. "Already trying to corrupt him, Jiraiya-sensei?" Yuraho asked, writing down the orders. "Hey, he's a ninja. Old enough to kill, old enough to drink. And I think it would be good he gets a bit of practice before I introduce him to Gamabunta," Jiraiya said, having Naruto perk up. "You're going to let me sign the Toad contract?" he asked, surprised. "Indeed. You've proven you're more than ready to become the next Toad summoner. As I told you, I don't have children whom I could pass the contract on to. So I have to resort to my students. And with your father having been my student and the last summoner, I think it is only right if you take up the mantle," Jiraiya said, smiling. He kept his voice low to not give others the information. Naruto couldn't help but smile happily. Summoning contracts were really rare. Konoha having so many of them was a reason it was seen as the most powerful village. Konoha held, as far as Naruto knew, the monkey contract with the Sarutobi clan, the dog contract with the Hatake clan, the turtle contract with the Mato clan, the crow contract with the Uchiha clan, and then the 3 contracts of the Sannin, the slug contract of Tsunade, the snake contract of Orochimaru, which Anko Mitarashi had also signed, and the toad contract of Jiraiya. Yuraho went to the kitchen to have the 2 dishes prepared and to warn his staff to treat Naruto Uzumaki properly whenever he came to the restaurant. He was to be treated like any other guest. None of the nonsense about him being a demon, or they could look for new jobs. His warning seemed to work. Naruto and Jiraiya got their appetizer 15 minutes later and Jiraiya poured sake from his bottle in the 2 cups. "Well, to your mastery in Fuinjutsu, Naruto," Jiraiya said. "Thanks, Jiraiya," Naruto replied and both drank the sake. Naruto was coughing after it. Jiraiya laughed. "You should be a bit careful in the beginning. Try sipping instead of drinking it in one go," he advised. Naruto glared but followed the advice. Chapter 15. Revealing the Uchiha Treachery. It was Saturday afternoon. Jiraiya was in the old Uchiha district checking out the seal the root had found. He was frowning. This didn't look like any standard seal he knew of. He channeled some chakra into the seal and watched where the chakra was directed to. The result was nothing he liked. He would need assistance with this. He turned to the ANBU that was there as a fast messenger to the Hokage in case that was needed. "Raccoon, go to the Hokage and tell him I need support here. Tell him that I need Kakashi Hatake and Dark Phoenix for this," Jiraiya said. The ANBU nodded and disappeared in a body flicker. 30 minutes after Jiraiya had called for assistance, Kakashi, Dark Phoenix, and the Hokage stood next to him. "What's the problem, Jiraiya?" the Hokage asked. "We have a level 4 seal that is somewhat different from what I have seen so far and that directs chakra all over the Uchiha district. I only pushed a small amount into the seal, but this is really worrying. I wanted to have Kakashi and Dark Phoenix here to see what they think and to neutralize that seal eventually. Jiraiya said, I think it would be best if you showed us the seal then when it is fed a bit of chakra. Kakashi said. Jiraiya nodded and repeated his earlier test. Naruto looked shocked at the array he saw. God damn it, the Uchiha were really bastards. To install something like that in their district. It probably powers through the entire village. Naruto cried out in disgust. You know this, Dark Phoenix? The Hokage asked surprised. While Jiraiya had confirmed that Naruto was indeed a seal master, he didn't think that the boy would be able to identify seals that Jiraiya didn't know. Kakashi, please check the seal with your Sharingan if there are any parts here in the district that we can't see with our normal eyes. Naruto addressed the Jonin. Kakashi nodded and pushed his headband up, only to have both eyes widen in shock. There are seals all over the whole district. Most originate from the seal, but some seem to be their own system. Wait a moment, then I'll draw it up for you, Kakashi said. He soon took a piece of paper and began drawing what he had seen. There are these two types of arrays that originate from this seal. Here in the district I mainly see the second type. Only a few homes have the first type. It repeats itself over the entire district. This is the other array, he said, pointing at the two arrays he had seen. The second one is a very complex secrecy seal that is used to hide an important location. Sensei, didn't you say you couldn't find many scrolls when you cleared out the Uchiha district after the massacre? Jiraiya asked. Yes, while we found some scrolls and weapons, it was nowhere the number we had expected to be in the Uchiha district. For a clan that had copied jutsus over generations, there simply wasn't enough material. And Sasuke also didn't have more. He had a few scrolls on Sharingan techniques and fire jutsus. We looked long for the library we suspected here, but never could find it. The Hokage confirmed. Well, I guess you needed to look with a Sharingan from a certain position. The second array probably hides the library that you couldn't find. I've seen that seal being used for places like that before. Dark Phoenix, while I have only a vague idea about the first array, you seem to know what it is. Jiraiya turned to Naruto. It is a parasitic seal. It consists of a main seal, which is the one you were called to check, and many other subparts. Those are the ones Kakashi found with his Sharingan. I think from what I saw, the subparts don't only spread through the district, but over the whole village. When Jiraiya-sama powered the seal, we saw the connected parts spread out through the gate of the district. This seal works like a chakra leech. The big seal here is the receiver. The smaller ones are either the senders or sub-receivers. From what Kakashi said, here are mostly sub-receivers. This looks like a very elaborate plan to take over the whole village. If this seal would have been activated at full power, the Uchiha could have sucked out the chakra of the people in the village, left them helpless and taken over. I guess I know now why the massacre happened, Naruto angrily said. Both Jiraiya and the Hokage looked shocked. Kakashi looked resigned. To have just dodged a threat like this one. The Hokage now had the irrefutable confirmation that his decision to sign the order for the annihilation had been the right one. While they still didn't know why all the small children had been killed, they should have been exempt from the massacre. But even Itachi hadn't known what had happened with them. He had first taken out the leaders of the revolt, and then every adult or teenager that had activated the eye and was in on the conspiracy, which sadly had been most members of the clan. Can this seal still be used, Dark Phoenix? The Hokage asked. Yes, it's completely workable. And with its size and the number of connected sub-seals, it will take some time to disable. Especially as it seems they created it so that only those with the Sharingan would see the seals. Otherwise the Hyuga would have already found the seals with their Byakugan. We need to find them all and disable them, Naruto said. The Hokage nodded. That would be a time-consuming task. I think I should first map out the seals that are spread over the village with my Sharingan. That way we can see if there is a way for others to take care of the seals once they know where they are. Kakashi said. Yes, that will be the first thing you need to do. How many shadow clones can you make and still use the Sharingan? The Hokage asked. I think 2 if I'm fully rested. Kakashi pondered. 10. Naruto said and held out some seals. These are some powerful storage seals. I tested them with my own shadow clones. In each seal is enough chakra stored to last for 5 hours under normal training conditions. Meaning learning some new jutsus. By my calculations, you should be able to have 10 clones running around with an activated Sharingan for 3 hours, as the Sharingan has a slightly higher drain than constant jutsu training for you. You place the first seal on yourself to have the chakra to produce the clones. The others you place on the clones themselves. As long as they aren't hit by anybody, the seals keep them going until the stored chakra runs out. The others looked at Naruto astonished. Does that system work for everybody or do you have to tune it for each person? Jiraiya asked impressed, analyzing the seal. No, those are universal. It's just a normal chakra storage seal that I tweaked a bit to be able to power a person or shadow clone. My original idea for them was to use them to treat chakra exhaustion in a fight. Give somebody who is down a boost so they can get out of there while still defending themselves. And contrary to soldier pills, those seals don't have any negative effects afterwards, like receiving the whole amount of exhaustion in one major strike after they run out. If somebody stores his own chakra, there are absolutely no effects. If you use somebody else's chakra, it could be that the receiver feels a bit weird, perhaps a little bit tipsy, but I couldn't test that aspect yet. Naruto admitted. Incredible. The Hokage said. That would be a powerful tool to have in a fight. How long does it need to be powered up? He asked. For a normal ninja with average chakra reserves, I would guess it could be siphoned off during one night of sleep. One seal takes about the same amount of chakra as 2A rank jutsus. Of course, you could also power up the seals with more chakra output in a shorter time. I just think the method overnight is the easiest one, and the one powering the seals wouldn't even notice the drain when he wakes up. Naruto said. I see. Well, I want you to make 1,000 of those seals for our armory, Dark Phoenix. Those seals will be classified as level 3 ones. By the way, how often can they be used? The Hokage asked. Normally they should hold about 10 to 15 uses. They are a prototype. I'm working on having them hold for 20 uses. Longer is impossible, as the chakra conductive properties of the ink can't take more. As these seals constantly give and take a high amount of chakra by their nature, the wear makes them less effective over time, Naruto answered. Still, that's remarkable. I see your Fuinjutsu mastery was well earned. Okay, Kakashi, get to work. We need to find out the whole dimension of this conspiracy. Dark Phoenix, Jiraiya, come with me to my office, we need to discuss something. The Hokage ordered. Yes, Hokage-sama. Kakashi and Naruto said while Jiraiya answered, Yes, sensei. Kakashi placed the first seal on himself and felt incredible about the amount of chakra he had available. He made the 10 shadow clones easily and then placed the chakra storage seals from Naruto on them. He and the shadow clones took off with the intention of searching the village for the parasitic seals. The Hokage sent his ANBU out of his office and Jiraiya set up his strongest privacy seals. Once that was done, Naruto took off his hood and the mask on his lower face. He had a suspicion what this conversation would be about. Okay, Naruto. I would like to know how you could identify the seals so easily. The Hokage asked. Okay. Well, it was twofold. The basis of the seal was described in some of the scrolls and books I found at my parents' house. As you know, the Uzumaki clan was famous for their skills in Fuinjutsu. The seal was originally used to contain prisoners in Uzushio. I guess that's the reason the Uchiha had that seal. After all, they were in charge of the military police. The intention is to keep prisoners weak to control them easier. You have one seal that leeches the chakra off a prisoner, and one receiver. The stored chakra was mostly used to power the electric system of the village. The Uchiha seal, though, has been modified. First, they made it that only the master receiver seal could be seen by everybody. Second, the sub-receiver seals don't power buildings, they power people. Meaning, if they had gone through with their coup, they could have just leached off all the chakra from the ninjas and civilians in the village and added it to their own reserves temporarily. But with the probable use of jutsus, that would have been easy to balance out. The reason nobody ever thought of using the receiver seals that way is that it would overcharge the system and damage the chakra network of a person. They have made the sub-receiver locations similar to a device that powers up batteries, with the Uchiha being the batteries. You can imagine what would have happened if the seals had been activated. The rest of the village would have been too weak to resist, and the Uchiha could just have recharged their reserves in their district. Naruto explained. Okay, that indeed is very troubling. But you didn't explain your second source of information. I know a bit about the Uzumaki seals from Kushina, that's why I called you all in. I recognized a similarity in the style. But how could you identify the other parts? Jiraiya asked. Naruto sighed. That much for keeping his knowledge a secret. But this was a matter of village security. If anybody used the seals in against them, it would be catastrophic. In the night after the Uchiha massacre, when all the ninjas were chasing Itachi, I sneaked into the Uchiha compound and collected as many scrolls as I could. I also took some weaponry which I could carry in a big sack. 2 of the scrolls I found described the seal. Naruto said. And you didn't tell me that before, why? The Hokage asked sternly. Because I thought that it was my damn right to take reparation for what those bastards did to me until Itachi killed them all. When I heard the Uchiha were massacred, I felt like throwing a party instead of the overall mourning the village did. Out of 100 attacks on me, 98 were done by those bastard Uchihas. In my opinion, Itachi is a hero. With what we found out today, I am only supported in that. If Itachi hadn't killed his clan, which can have been easy for him, the village would have fallen into the hands of the Uchiha, and I would either be dead, have found a way to run away, or be a mindless weapon under their command. Naruto answered, glaring at them, daring them to contradict him. Both men were shocked by the blatant hatred that Naruto showed, talking about the Uchiha. But the Hokage could understand him. Thanks to them messing things up all the time, he hadn't been able to properly protect Naruto. The Uchiha had had too much influence, and all caught culprits hadn't really been punished, as the responsibility for that fell under the power of the military police. I understand. Do you have any other important information I should be informed about? The Hokage asked. Besides that, I know all the weaknesses of the village's defenses? Naruto asked, shocking the two older men again. But how? Jiraiya asked. Being a prankster and playing pranks on the village had two purposes for me. On the one hand, it helped venting aggression and preventing me from going on a killing spree, and on the other hand, I trained my abilities in stealth, trap making, infiltration, assassination, and information gathering. I know my only real chance to rise in the ranks is being better than anybody else. While the other genin of my year are starting to see me as more than an idiot prankster now, the majority of the village is so set in its beliefs that it would take several large-scale actions from me to ever change their minds about me. So I decided I would train myself to be able to become a phantom. I know that skilled infiltration and assassination experts are rare. So I thought that could be the niche I could fit in. Especially as it seems to be something my ancestors were famous for. Naruto said. Yes, the Namikes were indeed once known as the most feared assassins in the ninja world. Though from what I saw about your skills so far, I wouldn't have assumed that would be the area you'd want to work in. The Hokage asked. I tried to get my skills up in nearly all areas of shinobi abilities. But I definitely have the mind of an infiltration and assassination specialist. I have been forced to act from the shadows for years to not be killed in this damned village. So over the years my personality started to think that way. Do you know how often I entertain thoughts of how easy it would be to just kill some of the more annoying civilian counselors in their sleep and put the blame on Root? Naruto asked. You know about Root? The Hokage asked, shocked. Sure do. I know pretty much everything about them. I know their location, their training methods, how much of an idiot Danzo is, some of their members, and in what kind of businesses Danzo is involved. But as they are not really a problem as long as you can keep Danzo under control, I think they could be put to good use for the village, and I think you are already doing it if the increased presence of them in the village over the last few weeks is any indication. Naruto said. That'll be a slap in the face for Danzo that somebody noticed his ninja spying around. Jiraiya chuckled. What do you mean about Danzo being an idiot? The Hokage asked. The guy is caught up in the past. While he is still a powerful shinobi, him playing the cripple is more deception than anything else. He is as old as you are and his reserves are decreasing. It's utterly unrealistic to think he could ever be a good Hokage. The guy has so much information on the situation all around the elemental nations that he could have made Konoha the undisputed champion long ago. He claims he wants Konoha to be the strongest village, but he doesn't give it his full abilities. I think I should talk with him sometime about it. Naruto mused. Do you really think you could change his behavior? Jiraiya asked doubtfully. I am the great-grandson of the man he admired more than anybody else. And I am quite similar to him as well. My great-grandfather was the one who combined the cunning and sneakiness of a high-class assassin and the power of a combat ninja. He was the one to found Root and put Danzo in charge. And you don't really believe that Danzo doesn't know who I am? Naruto asked. Both Jiraiya and the Hokage had to admit that it was nearly impossible that Danzo didn't know about Naruto's heritage. For that he looked too much like Minato, and Danzo knew about Minato's heritage. Still, if you approach him, be careful, Naruto. Danzo is not someone you want to underestimate. The Hokage warned. I know, but the same is true for me. Naruto grinned. I can be 1 or 3,000. I can be everything I want to be. A plant, a mouse, a giant. It doesn't matter to me. He'll see what kind of threat I pose if he goes too far. And as I don't have any real attachment in the village that he could go after, well, he can't blackmail me. Both the Hokage and Jiraiya were worried about that last statement. But it was true nonetheless. The only one Naruto had any kind of attachment to was the Hokage himself, and perhaps a little bit to Kakashi. but both were strong enough to look after themselves, and to have Naruto's potential pointed out like that could be more than a little bit unsettling. It only drove home how much they needed to keep the blonde in the village. The next morning, a Naruto clone in his Dark Phoenix disguise brought the first quarter of the chakra storage seals the Hokage had ordered. These seals were tricky to make, and it took a lot of energy from Naruto, which meant he couldn't mass-produce them like easier ones, meaning he didn't have the reserves to use 1,000 shadow clones like normally. With these seals he could have 250 clones do one seal each per night. While he didn't power up the seals except the very basic level that was needed to store the chakra in the seal, it was still tiring him out. Therefore, once a clone had drawn and powered up a seal, it dispelled from being out of chakra. He handed the stack of seals over to the Hokage, who wrote down the amount of money that would be transferred to Naruto's account. Thankfully, the bank was under the control of the Hokage, and the accounts were only kept with numbers to anybody not having the clearance, meaning only the director of the bank, the Hokage, and the respective account holder would be able to connect a number to a name. Therefore, nobody would wonder how a genin was earning that much money regularly. Because selling so many new seals to the village earned Naruto a good amount of cash, he had easily paid for his new cloak, which he was working on to prepare for being used for flying. Soon after the formalities had been taken care of, the clone dispelled, informing Naruto of the successful transaction. During the week, Team 7 was kept in the village mostly for training and some D-rank missions, which was due to Kakashi having to find all the seals that the Uchiha clan had hidden in the village. All members of Team 7 noticed that Naruto was colder towards his teammates than even before, but he still kept everything professional. But Sakura obviously didn't learn how to read the mood of her teammate. "Naruto, why are you behaving like that?" she accused him. "Like what?" he asked, not interrupting his workout exercise of doing pull-ups on a branch. "Like you are better than us and not even worth talking to you," she answered, glaring at him. "That might be because that's exactly how I see it. I could do much worse than that, but that would disrupt the functionality of this team," Naruto said, still not stopping. "What? How dare you say that? Sasuke was the rookie of the year, you were the dead last. You could never measure up to him," she yelled. "Didn't the last 1.5 months show you that the academy rating was rubbish? If I had wanted to, I could have been rookie of the year, but what would that get me? Acknowledgement and respect? The village is so screwed up in their minds that they would deny anything I did even if there was no doubt about it. They have placed Sasuke on a pedestal, not even caring that he isn't anything special in his clan. And what good did it do him? Inflating his ego so much that he lost sense of reality. It hindered his growth instead of furthering it. And you? Don't even let me start about your failures. You were physically one of the weakest members in our class. The only thing you really learned at the academy was theory, nothing remarkably useful in the field. Your taijutsu, while the forms are consistent, is too weak because you lack the power in any kick or punch and you tire way too early. You didn't train any more than what the instructors had us do during the practical lessons at the academy. The other time you spent stalking Emo over there and fantasizing about how to rape him. So what if we meet a missing nin on a mission that separates our team, talk him down with the knowledge about the elemental nations and show him how to do a nice flower bouquet? Those are supplementary skills for a ninja. We earn our money as thieves, killers, and soldiers. There is nothing romantic in our profession. Once we are out of the learning phase under our Jonin senseis, we are facing other ninjas that won't hesitate to kill us if their mission commands it. You either are good enough to survive or you die. Nothing more," Naruto said, never stopping doing his exercise. Kakashi hated how the mood in his team was, but he couldn't really do anything about it before he managed to break Sakura out of her fangirl mentality and got Sasuke knocked down from his pedestal of believing he was better than everybody else. At least the raven-haired boy had finally realized that Naruto was stronger than him. It was obvious in every single team training session. And as Naruto managed to keep his calm with Sakura and Sasuke and didn't let himself be tempted to just physically knock them down a bit, he didn't see a reason to interfere. He was doing his own exercises. He was busy improving his Raikiri. If he was to become Hokage, he needed to have some additional firepower in his arsenal. So far he had increased the range of the attack. Seeing Naruto improve by leaps and bounds had also motivated him to get better. He had to admit he had relied too much on Obito's present. The Sharingan had a lure to make people lazy. It was easy to learn new jutsus, so there wasn't as much work involved as it normally would have been, but he hadn't been called a prodigy for nothing. He had made Genin with just 5 years of age and Chunin with 6. That was even faster than Itachi Uchiha. With 13 he had become Jonin. He was the son of the famous White Fang. He was the copy ninja, the man who had copied over 1,000 jutsus. It was time he backed up his reputation again. Whenever he didn't have to train his team or observe missions, he was working on mastering all the jutsus he had copied, and he was writing them down for the Hokage library through a shadow clone. With the chakra seals Naruto had created, he could keep a clone running for 8 hours without using the Sharingan. That was more than enough time to write down his knowledge. Once the seals in the village would be found, he would use the shadow clones to train like Naruto did. While he could only do it on a smaller scale, the seals enabled him to get a good effect. After all, he only needed to master jutsus he already knew. He saw Sakura being gobsmacked over the lecture Naruto had given her and furious that neither her sensei nor Sasuke were defending her. "Sakura, get back to your own exercises," Kakashi reminded her. Sakura looked ready to explode, but didn't dare ignore a direct order of her sensei. She started with running across the training file as fast as she could. Chapter 16, Deal with the Devil. Team 7 stood in the Hokage's office ready for a new mission. Kakashi had finished mapping the locations of the seals, and while he was away with his team, Jiraiya and the ANBU would try to disable the seals in the most problematic locations like the Hokage Tower, the Ninja Academy, the ANBU headquarters, and the guard area of the Shinobi Prison. Team 7 ready for a C-rank mission, Kakashi said, shocking Irika, who was doing duty in the mission office today. "A C-rank already? Aren't they a bit inexperienced for that?" Irika asked. "That's not our first one, Irika. We already did one, and only because I had another important mission that kept me inside the village we didn't do another yet," Kakashi said. Irika was surprised. He wouldn't have thought that Team 7 would already be doing C ranks. Normally a team was kept doing D ranks for at least 4 to 6 months before a sensei decided they were ready for higher ranking missions. But if the rumors he had heard were true, Naruto was a lot better than he had shown at the academy, and Kakashi was putting his team through harsh training. "Okay, Kakashi. I think I have something fitting for you. We have a simple escort and protection mission to Wave Country. The client is a bridge builder called Tazuna who wants you to escort him back and protect him from bandits and the like until he finishes his bridge," the Hokage said. "Mission accepted, Hokage-sama," Kakashi said. "Very well. Send Tazuna in," the Hokage said loudly. An old man with a straw hat, holding a bottle which obviously held alcohol, was standing in the door. "Those kids are the protection I get? I paid for real ninjas to protect me, not those squirts," he protested. Naruto was in front of him before Tazuna even noticed he had left his position. "Funny you say that. I know for sure that this squirt could cut your jugular vein before you even noticed me," he said, grinning evilly, making Tazuna gulp in fear. Naruto. No scaring the client," Kakashi said. "You're no fun, Kakashi-sensei." Naruto mock pouted and instantly returned to his former position again without Tazuna being able to see anything. "You don't have to fear anything, Tazuna. I'm a Jonin, and those 3 are some of the best upcoming ninjas we have in the village. We are more than enough to deal with a few bandits," Kakashi assured Tazuna. Naruto saw a slight tensing in Tazuna when Kakashi mentioned the bandits. Was there more going on? He probably needed to make a small visit to the root base if he had the time before leaving. "When are we leaving?" he asked therefore. "Tomorrow morning at 7 at the main gate," Kakashi answered. Naruto nodded and left the room in a body flicker. Tazuna looked at the spot where the blonde had been just a moment before. He really should have expected something like that from a ninja. After all, people told the most incredible things about them. Naruto reappeared in the woods close to the root base entrance. He made 5 shadow clones which he transformed into forest animals and transformed into a mouse himself. Then he sent 1 clone that hadn't transformed openly into the base. He stayed in the shadows, following his clone undetected. It was time to have a little conversation with Danzo. It took the untransformed clone 10 minutes to reach the area where the root base split into several areas. Once he was in the middle of the platform, he was stopped by 4 root ninjas in blank white masks that held him in position with kunai to 4 vital areas. "I want to talk to Danzo. Would any of you mind calling him?" the clone said calmly, not caring that he was threatened. One of the 4 that held him gave a sign, which Naruto and his clone thought was the order to another ninja in the shadows. 5 minutes later Danzo came out. "I am interested why you would come down here, Uzumaki. And more so I would like to learn how you knew about this place," Danzo asked. "I have known about this place for 4 years now. And I know what this place is, the headquarters of your little ANBU subdivision route that should have been disbanded. But I also know that the old man just turned a blind eye because you were useful for the village. By the way, I'm only a shadow clone, so I'd advise you to keep your ninjas on a leash before they pop me, and I can't give you the message I was sent here to give you." the clone said, still keeping an emotionless face. Danzo gave the four a sign, which made them step back a little bit, still keeping the clone under control. Nice. Well, I guess you want to know the reason for my visit. The reason is twofold. My original wants to know if you have anything about the political situation of Wave Country because our new client is behaving a bit suspiciously. The second one is offering a mutually beneficial alliance. I know that you tried to get me into your unit since the day QB was sealed in me. While I have no interest in becoming a mindless weapon, I know as well that with the public opinion of me, there will be hard times before I can live a halfway peaceful life in the village. And I also know that Itachi Uchiha killed the Uchiha clan on your orders, Naruto revealed. Danzo's eye narrowed. This boy knew way too much in his opinion. But an alliance with him could be useful. The boy was Jonin level, and that at 12. He only needed experience, which would be no problem with how Kakashi trained his team. The boy would reach the rank he deserved within a year. Intriguing indeed. You don't sound like you mind the Uchiha clan being dead, Danzo stated. I don't mind the least. They were power-hungry bastards that would have risked a civil war in Konoha just to get the power. And my personal history with them is also nothing I care to remember. I won't shed a single tear about them. They tried to usurp the old man's power. He found out before they could strike, they paid the price. I know you have dealt with threats to Konoha for decades from the shadows. I also know you have ambitions to get the Hokage hat. Well, that I have to say is a delusion of yours. The daimyo would never appoint you as long as he has other suitable choices. And that Sharingan you have from Shursui Uchiha won't really help you as well. Have any Hyuga there, and you are busted, Naruto said. Danzo looked like he wanted to attack, but Naruto just raised his hand. Hit a nerve? Don't worry, I didn't tell the old man about that little secret. While I didn't hate Shursui as much as other Uchihas, I didn't like him either. If you are into desecration of corpses is your problem, not mine. No, my interest is gaining power in this village. It will become much easier after I let loose in the Chunin exams. At the moment, there are only rumors that I held back at the academy. After the exams, everybody will know exactly how much. Konoha has been sleeping in the last 12 years. First, we needed to rebuild after the QB attack, then we needed to restructure after the Uchiha massacre, which cost us a fifth of our military. I know that the old man is planning to have Kakashi-sensei take over the hat to make sure I stay in the village. What he doesn't know is that it was my intention to get Kakashi Hatake into the position, Naruto said, making Danzo look at him interested again. What reason would I have had to reveal my escape plans? If I had really intended to run, I could have done it easier. I am a master of the shadow clone jutsu and of seals. Making a clone that kept my place for a week then disappear, which would probably give me a few more days until anybody noticed I was missing, would have been easy. And nobody could have declared me a missing nin, because I wasn't a ninja yet. And within 1.5 weeks I'd have left Fire Country without problem. Meaning there would have been nothing the Hokage could have done to get me back. But what advantage would running away have given me after the Uchiha were killed? None, but it offered me an opportunity. The massacre left a vacuum of power that still isn't filled. In the past we had many powerful ninjas in the village, and with Yuzushio, our sister village, and my mother's home village, we had a very powerful ally. But we let Yuzushio be destroyed by IWA and Kumo because we didn't expect the attack. While the ninjas of Yuzushio held their own for 3 days, the Konoha support only reached them on the 4th day. While IWA and Kumo lost more ninjas than Yuzushio did, they could afford it with their greater numbers. We let the white fan commit suicide over a discrepancy in opinion. He saw his comrades more important than the mission. The other ninjas in the village saw it differently. But letting one of our legends die because of that? We are founded on the will of fire. If we didn't have the teamwork and high regard for the lives of our ninjas, we wouldn't have become as great as we are. Then the mistake with the Sannin. Only Jiraiya is currently loyal to Konoha. Orochimaru is a traitor, and Tsunade, caught in her grief, means 2 of our most powerful ninjas are unavailable for us. The clone listed with arms crossed over his chest. Danzo could only agree. Much power had been lost to Konoha. That was one thing he held against the Sandaime. He had become too soft to lead. Next one is Itachi Uchiha, the fake missing nin, who is one of the greatest heroes of the village. To kill your own clan, your own family, to protect the village needs real guts. And to take all the blame to keep the village safe and be the eyes outside also is incredibly courageous. But it takes another very powerful ninja from the village. I don't need to mention the death of my parents, the ninjas that died against Kyuubi, and the decreasing strength of both you and the Sandaime. We need more strong ninjas that can bear the burden of our village in the future. Within my generation there are some real talents. Shikamaru Nara is a genius and only needs to realize that his laziness can be the reason for friends to be in lethal danger. Ino Yamanaka is extremely talented in her clan's arts, but doesn't invest the necessary training to become really good over her fawning over Sasuke. Who is the next great example? The village fucked him up pretty good. He should never have been allowed to live on his own. A 7-year-old boy spoiled by the villagers just because he had the potential to activate the Sharingan without the necessary grounding by a family. Caught in the bad memories without new ones balancing them out. He should have been given help to overcome his grief and psychological help to get over the genjutsu Itachi put him under. He has talent, but only now under Kakashi-sensei it's showing its true dimension. Sasuke is no Itachi and will never be. But he can be great. If he only gets that damn superiority complex out of his mind. Shino Aburame is well versed in his jutsu, and if he follows my suggestions, he can become one of the most feared hunter nins ever. Same for Kiba Inuzuka. Get him over his brashness, and put a bit of strategic thinking into him, and he can become a great ninja. Hinata Hyuga has much potential. It just needs to be pulled out of her with supportive training, not the stupid beatdown method her clan used. To simply overlook her being a different element than the other members of her clan is so stupid. Next, the team under Guy. Niji is a genius who nobody bothered to show up his errors. Not that hard to believe with him being a genius and not being allowed to truly shine by the main branch of the Hyuga. If he gets over his fate obsession crap, he could become Jonin before all the others in his year and my year except for me. Then Lee, with his kind of handicap guy, made a fantastic ninja out of him. Tenten only needs to branch out more in her specialty. We have the potential, but it needs to be properly cultivated. They all need about 3 years to develop to their full potential. But we also need a Hokage that can lead this potential in the right direction. The Sandaime is too worn out to be that leader. He wanted to hand over the hat already, and lost his successor when Dad died, sealing QB and me. You are crippled from the war and wouldn't stand a chance against somebody like Itachi at full power. So while you are still powerful, you are not Hokage material. What you need is a symbol outside of your root that can be your representative. And that is the deal I have to offer. I will be your representative. You know my heritage. I am the prince of this village. And in a few months that will be announced. I think very much the same way my great-grandfather did. We need to get the village back up to power. And we need symbols out there that can show the other villages that we didn't lose any of our strength since the Third War. While most of my classmates didn't make the cut, that problem is being taken care of since I woke up the Sandaime from his reluctance to act. He wants to hand over the hat to Kakashi-sensei with the most pressing problems solved or on the way there. I can be the leader of the new generation once they get old enough to take over the village. I don't want to become Hokage soon. It will be early enough if I can get the hat in my 30s or early 40s. I want to get a name out there. I want to make them fear the name Naruto Namikaze. And honestly, why would I want to be chained to an office before it's necessary? Naruto asked. Danzo had to admit he was impressed with this boy. What he had done so far was really cunning. With him indicating he would have run if he could, he had forced the Sandaime to take action. To lose a ninja of Naruto's potential would be a catastrophe for Konoha. More so as Naruto held the Kyuubi, and now he even had too much information en route to have him forced to act somehow. So what do you want for being my representative? Danzo asked. Access to your training facilities and information. Mostly information though at the moment. Your true power is not your skill or the number of your ninjas. They might look impressive, but mostly they are a high Chunin level or low Jonin level. You have some outstanding ones in your forces, like Fu and Torian, but they are still no match to someone like Kakashi-sensei. Your true power is based on information. You know as well as I do, if the Hokage had wanted to stop you, he could have destroyed all this here and executed you for treason, but he knows that there are threats you just need to take care of under the hand. And your information network is too valuable to just throw it away. Naruto said. I see, very interesting. I agree to your conditions, Namikaze. It will be interesting to see if you indeed have the strength to reach your goals and bring Konoha back to the top. I knew the Nidaime very well, and if you are only half the man he was, you indeed have a glorious future before you. Well, let's see your request for information on Wade Country. The country, while still officially ruled by their daimyo, is under the control of the businessman Gato. He took over all their shipping industry and effectively cut them off of the mainland. Anybody opposing him is killed. He managed to suppress the people by publicly executing the leader of their resistance in the most brutal and bloody way. Gato is also one of the greediest and richest people in the elemental nations. He set up his base east of a fisher village close to the coast to Fire Country. His personal guards are thugs he hired. From what I have on them, they are small fry for any ninja. The only dangerous thing about them is their numbers. He has around 500 in his main base, and another 500 on call in a camp on the other side of the island. Danzo said. Naruto nodded, thinking about the information. So to really get Wave Country back to its feet, we need to take out Gato, kill his thugs, and let Tazuna finish his bridge. Which means the mission is no C rank, but probably an A rank. I guess he occasionally also hires missing Nins to take care of opponents. If he betrays them, nobody would complain. Okay, well, that will be an interesting test of my abilities. Konoha wouldn't mind any additional funds as well. I should be able to take them all out in the first week depending on which missing ninja Gato hired. But if he is as greedy as you say, he could have hired a really strong one that he intends to take out once he is weakened from a fight against us. Thanks for the information, the clone said and dispelled. The original Naruto meanwhile had read up on missing Nins in the area in the Root Archive and come up with a number of potential opponents he would probably face. While his clone kept Danzo busy, he had sneaked out again. Nobody being any the wiser, he had been there in person and taken a few things. One of Danzo's special bingo books, for example. Chapter 17, Mission to Wave Country. Team 7 met at the main gate at 7 in the morning. Kakashi had informed Sakura what she needed for the mission, as he didn't want to waste time with her having to stock up on things today. Sasuke, he knew, was properly prepared for a 2-week-long mission like this one. They would need about 2 days to reach Wave Country at civilian speed. Naruto was always over-prepared. No need to worry there. A few minutes past 7 the team set out for the mission. Naruto had read the bingo book from Root yesterday, and was prepared for all the ninjas that could await him. He had sealed more weapons for this mission than the last C rank to be prepared to take out hundreds of thugs. Out of the village, Naruto made 10 shadow clones that transformed in small birds and took off, scouting ahead. For some hours nothing really interesting happened. Sakura tried to make small talk with Tazuna, trying to find out more about Wave Country. Naruto had pondered the use of telling Kakashi his information, but had decided to not to. He wanted to do this mission, and if he informed his sensei about the higher rank, the team wouldn't get it. And between Kakashi and him there was no missing Nin that Gato could have hired that they couldn't take out. After all, Gato was greedy as hell. More than a normal jonin he wouldn't hire if at all. 3 hours into their travel, one of his shadow clones dispersed. Naruto signaled Kakashi with hand signs about the potential threat in front of 2 ninjas hidden in a puddle. Kakashi signaled back to continue without alarming anybody. Naruto confirmed the order. After 20 minutes they reached the puddle Naruto's clones had informed him about. The team passed the puddle without Sasuke or Sakura reacting to it. Really, they obviously needed to train more on situational awareness. It had been warm for the last week. A puddle in the middle of the road was simply impossible with those conditions. Soon after they had passed the puddle, the 2 ninjas jumped out and attacked Kakashi with a bladed chain, tearing him to shreds. Or at least that was what Sasuke and Sakura saw. Naruto, being immune to genjutsu of that level, saw a replacement with a log. Sakura's screams were tuned out when he quickly analyzed the reason for Kakashi's actions, which made him conclude Kakashi wanted to know the ninja's target, and perhaps test his team under fighting conditions. Sasuke left. Sakura, guard Tazuna, I take right. Naruto commanded, which his teammates immediately followed. Sasuke rushed at the left opponent, Naruto at the right one, and Sakura took position in front of Tazuna with a kunai in her hand. Sasuke pinned the chain of the 2 ninjas, who wore breathing masks and had kiri headbands, to a tree with a shuriken, which he enforced with a kunai. Naruto meanwhile had reached his opponent, and was going for a quick kill. He pushed wind chakra through his kunai, and once he was inside the ninja's guard, he slashed at the throat. Having enhanced the kunai with wind chakra, taking the ninja by surprise with his speed, Naruto cleanly cut off the head. Sasuke meanwhile had involved his opponent in a taijutsu fight. While the ninja tried to get past him all the time, Sasuke was obviously winning. Finally he kicked his opponent in the kidneys, which made him fall down in pain. Just when the other ninja tried to stand up, Kakashi appeared and took care of the ninja, knocking him out. Sakura looked immensely relieved that Kakashi was still alive. Naruto had to collect himself for a moment. While he had killed animals before without problem, killing a human was still different. He knew it was kill or be killed in this world, but the first kill was still difficult. Hopefully he would be able to take out the thugs. Sakura looked at the corpse at Naruto's feet in horror. Sasuke looked indifferent. He had seen others being killed before after all. Good job, everybody. That was a perfectly executed reaction to an ambush. Naruto, are you okay? Kakashi asked concerned. I'm okay, Kakashi-sensei. Just give me a minute to get it straight in my head. Naruto requested, trying to calm his feelings down. Talking about killing was definitely easier than doing the deed. But if he wanted to become a good ninja, he would need to do it again. And in Wave there waited a bunch of thugs that he would have to kill to free the country. Kakashi nodded towards Naruto, resolving to talk to him later about his obviously first kill. Then he turned to Tazuna. You didn't tell us that ninjas were after you. We were only informed about bandits and the like. He confronted Tazuna. I don't know what you're talking about. Tazuna tried to evade. Oh, that's easy. I knew about this ambush 20 minutes before it happened from Naruto. His scouting clones had informed him about 2 ninjas hiding in a puddle on our way. I replaced myself with a log when they attacked and let my team handle things for 2 reasons. First, I wanted to see how my team dealt with a situation like this, and second, I wanted to know their target. Were they after one of us or after you? Those ninja tried to get to you from the start. So I want a very good explanation for this, or I'll take my team back to Konoha. With you lying about the rank of the mission, you broke the contract you made with Konoha. Kakashi informed Tazuna. Okay, there's a super dangerous man after my life. You've probably heard about him. His name is Gato. Tazuna confessed, president of Gato's shipping. Currently ranked 5th richest man in the elemental nations. Naruto stated. Suspected to be involved in criminal activities, but it could never be proven. Yes, that's him. He came to Wave Country a bit more than a year ago. First we didn't think anything about it, but he soon had bought up all the shipping industry of our nation. You see, Wave Country is an island, so we are dependent on the shipping to get goods. But that wasn't the worst part. He used his monopoly to drain the country dry. The people live in poverty. Many lost their houses to Gato, who protests is killed. He takes what he wants with his hired thugs, making sure nobody dares to oppose him. His shipping business covers his criminal activities. He deals with drugs, alcoholics, rare goods, even slaves. Everything that brings him money. The only thing he fears is the bridge I'm building. If I finish my bridge, Wave Country can break his monopoly and get back to strength. Tazuna said. But why didn't you just tell the truth? Kakashi asked. That's easy to conclude. Wave Country was sucked dry. They didn't have more money than for a C-rank mission if they poured all their money in the bridge to get their freedom. I guess in the recent past Gato had tried to take Tazuna out so that he sneaked out of the country with all the money the people could get together to hire a few ninjas. He hoped he would get ninjas strong enough to protect him while he finished the bridge. And if Gato had just used his thugs, he would even have been lucky that that was true. But those 2 are the demon brothers, missing ninja from Kiri. Be ranked in the bingo book. Bounty for 1.000.000 Rio. Bounty for both 3.000.000 Rio. Naruto cited from the bingo book he had read. Tazuna nodded. He's right. In the past, Gato only used thugs. There are rumors that he hates ninjas because they are so expensive. I wasn't sure if he would hire ninja to take me out. And we really are super poor. Even our daimyo has no money. All the money I gave Konoha is from the people. And it is all we could afford. We put everything else into the bridge. It's our only hope. Tazuna said. You still shouldn't have lied. If you had told the Hokage the problem, he would have come up with a solution. Kakashi said. Now we still have the problem that this mission is too much for this team. I am for continuing, Kakashi-sensei. This is not just a mission where the client wanted to save money. This is about a whole country going down the drain because one greedy bastard wants to fill his pockets even more than he already has. And we can't afford that. People think Konoha would let a country fall to such a man. We are strong enough to continue. Naruto said. Naruto is right. We are strong enough. I vote we continue. Sasuke said, already thinking about what kind of fighting experience he would get. Sakura looked unsure, but she didn't want to disappoint Sasuke. And the people of Wave obviously needed help. I agree, she said. Kakashi looked at his team. He knew this was the best genin team that could have got the mission. Naruto was practically a jonin in all but title. Sasuke probably low chunin level, and Sakura after 2 months of rigorous training was a normal genin. But she could stay in the back and be support if a fight started. He wouldn't need to protect all of them like they were real genin. You are aware that if we continue, our next opponent won't be chunin level, but more likely a jonin like me? He asked. All 3 nodded. Naruto, calm and determined, Sasuke determined and Sakura a bit worried, but still determined to continue. Alright, we will continue. But once Wave Country gets back to its feet, you'll have to pay the difference to the mission rank this will develop into. Kakashi told Tazuna. Of course, thank you so much, he said gratefully. Naruto sealed the head of Meizu, whom he had decapitated in a scroll to collect the bounty later on. Kakashi decided that just leaving Goza here, bound until the ANBU could collect him, was too risky. Naruto, do you have prisoner scrolls in your repertoire? He asked. I would need to make it, but I can do the seals. I guess you don't want to risk him escaping when he can be a good source of information? Naruto asked. Indeed, Kakashi said. Naruto nodded, took a blank scroll out of his backpack, took his sealing equipment, and began drawing. Sasuke and Sakura for the first time saw how good their teammate was with Fuinjutsu. They had never really seen him create a seal from scratch. To say they couldn't avoid being impressed was an understatement. Damn it, boy, you could think you were one of the Uzumaki of old, Tazuna said. I am an Uzumaki, Tazuna, Naruto answered, finishing the seal by pushing chakra into it. A real Uzumaki? But your hair is blonde, not red, Tazuna exclaimed. I don't know my parents, but my mother was an Uzumaki. That much the Hokage could tell me, Naruto said. What is so special about the Uzumaki? Sakura asked, clueless. Kakashi looked at her strangely. Don't tell me they cut that important part of history out of the teaching plans of the academy? Kakashi said. Huh? What do you mean? Sakura asked. Okay, impromptu history lesson. Before the Third Great Ninja World War, Konoha had a sister village called Uzushio. It was located in the former Land of Whirlpools, an island nation close to Wave Country. The leaders of the village were the Uzumakis. That clan was known all over the elemental nations for three things: their longevity, their skills in Kenjutsu, and their incredible skill in Fuinjutsu. The Senju clan that founded Konoha and the Uzumaki clan that founded Uzushio were distant cousins. Konoha won the Second Shinobi War because we had the Uzumakis on our side. But then, shortly before the Third War started, IWA and Kumo decided that to have a chance against Konoha in the Third War, they needed to eliminate our strongest ally Uzushio. They kept their attack plans completely secret. But they didn't expect the opposition they would have to face in Uzushio. All the ninjas there were exceptionally strong. The village was much smaller than Konoha, but their ninjas were all at Jonin level if they had a few years of experience. They managed to send the Genin level ninjas away to evacuate the civilians. Sadly, not all of those convos managed to escape, but many did. The united forces of IWA and Kumo attacked relentlessly for 3 days. Konoha ninjas were on their way to assist Uzushio, led by Minato Namikaze, the Yellow Flash, and Kushina Uzumaki, the blood-red habanero, or outside of Konoha the Red Devil. But they were too late. They reached Uzushio on the 4th day when the last Uzumakis, who had held out to give the civilians a chance to get as far away as they could and hoped that Konoha would reach them to help in time, had fallen to the enemy. But IWA and Kumo didn't get a great win from this battle. They lost 10 times the ninja Uzushio had lost. It was that battle where my sensei earned his name of Yellow Flash and Kushina got her name of Red Devil. They tore the remaining ninjas down. It was nothing but a bloody massacre. The weakened ninjas from IWA and Kumo, while still having the numeric advantage, were no match for those two and the rest of the Konoha forces. They were killed to the last member. In remembrance of our failure to reach Uzushio in time to help them, like they did for us in the past, Konoha wears the spiral of the Uzumaki clan on the back of our Chunin and Jonin vests. While the crest of the Uzumaki clan is white like on Naruto's shoulder, the symbol on our vests is red to always remember that battle. Kakashi said. So he too is from a nearly extinct clan. Sasuke realized. Sakura was solemn. She hadn't known about that. And it seemed to have been a really important historic event. Why wouldn't the students at the academy learn about it? Naruto had taken in the story calmly. He had already known about it. It was a big part in both of his parents' journals, but hearing it from Kakashi-sensei was still something different. The journey continued without incidents until they reached the coast where Tazuna had organized for a boat to transport them over to Wave Country. The man who steered the boat was extremely nervous, despite them having cover from the early morning fog. When they passed the bridge, Naruto couldn't help but let out a soft whistle. Damn it, Tazuna. That really is one impressive bridge, he said. Thanks. I told you I'm a super bridge builder, Tazuna answered. Once they reached land, the fisher wished Tazuna luck to get home safely while Tazuna thanked him for his help. Naruto sent out a new batch of clones transformed into birds to scout the island. He needed to have a good reason to know certain things after all. Identifying missing names from a bingo book was no problem. Kakashi knew he was always overprepared. But knowing about the political and geographical highlights of Wave Country if he didn't send out scouts wouldn't be good. And honestly, taking out a camp of 500 thugs on his own while possible would be much easier if his sensei helped. How far is your home from here, Tazuna? Kakashi asked. About 1.5 hours. Tazuna answered. Be on guard. It's probable that we will encounter opposition before we reach Tazuna's home. Kakashi warned. His students nodded. They walked surrounding Tazuna. Naruto at point, Sasuke left, Sakura right and Kakashi behind Tazuna. Half an hour into their walk, Naruto threw a kunai into a bush, then looking into a different direction, then somewhere else. We have company, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto stated. Location? Kakashi asked, changing at a fast pace. Naruto said. Hidden in the trees, Zabuza Momochi was really impressed. He wouldn't have thought that a team like this was protecting the bridge builder. He had found the remains of Meizu, but not of Gozu. And from Meizu he could only tell that his head had been cut off cleanly. No other injuries. Probably Kakashi's work. But the blonde was definitely a censor. That could be a problem. Otherwise he didn't look that special. The team seemed to consist of genins. He decided to introduce himself properly, and hauled his giant sword through the air at the group. Down! Kakashi shouted and pulled Tazuna to the ground. Sasuke, Sakura and Naruto were drilled to immediately react to their sensei's orders and went down. Naruto in the position of a push-up, so he jumped up again after the sword had sailed over his head, ready to defend. My. I didn't expect somebody like you here. No wonder the demon brothers couldn't fulfill the mission. Zabuza said, standing on his sword, which was stuck into a tree. Zabuza Momochi, demon of the mist. Kakashi said, you've heard of me. Well, I have to ask you to hand over the old man to me. I'm not after you and your brats. If you do, I'll just let all of you run home. Zabuza said, sorry, can't do that. It's our mission to protect Tazuna. Kakashi said, a pity. Zabuza said. Sasuke looked like he wanted to attack this new opponent, but Kakashi held him back. No, this one is not like the two before. Against him I need to go all out. Release your seals and protect Tazuna. Naruto, you're in command. Kakashi said and pushed up his headband, revealing the Sharingan. Oh, the Sharingan this early on, I'm honored. I've heard about you too. When I was still in the ANBU of Kiri you were in our bingo books. You're known as the copy ninja. The man who has copied 1,000 jutsus. Zabuza said. Zabuza let loose a high amount of killing intent. He was really surprised when none of the genin reacted to it, but countered it. Especially the blonde didn't seem bothered at all. He had taken the other two and positioned them around the old man. You'll have to do better than that, Zabuza. Those are my students, and I've put them through harsh training. You didn't expect me to let them go on C-rank missions without being used to killing intent? Kakashi mocked. Interesting. You seem to have some talented ones there. But can they really succeed in this harsh world? Were they scared when you killed Meizu? Zabuza asked. Huh? What is he talking about? You killed that ninja, Naruto. Sakura asked. Don't give up sensitive information, Sakura. Naruto hissed back. Wait, the blonde brat killed Meizu? No way. Meizu was a Chunin, and in a team with Gozu really dangerous. Zabuza exclaimed. Release. Naruto just quietly said, letting his resistance seals go completely. So these are not your normal genin? Or Meizu was just careless? Would make sense. Zabuza pondered. He jumped from his position on the sword, taking the sword with him in the action and landed on the water. Hidden mist jutsu. He said, creating a field of mist. No, not like this. Naruto said and flew through a bunch of seals himself. Wind release. Spring gale. He declared, and a strong gust of wind came up and blew the mist away. There's no way I let him use his silent killing technique. Naruto said. Kakashi nodded, rushing at the revealed Zabuza. Annoying blonde brat. Doesn't he like to wear his Chunin vest? Zabuza asked, taking on Kakashi openly now. He isn't Chunin yet. But that will only be the case until the next exams. Kakashi said. No way that brat is a genin. I mean, what kind of games is Konoha playing? He attacked with his sword, intent on cutting Kakashi in two. That boy is a censor, can use wind element, and obviously did his homework. Why is he still genin? That is nothing you should worry about. On your opponent. Kakashi said and countered every single attack Zabuza used. Both Jonin used tricks, clones, replacements and ferocious taijutsu to get the advantage against the other. Then Zabuza got in a kick, Kakashi flew towards the water, but threw a bunch of makubishi nails on the ground to stop Zabuza from pursuing. He righted himself in the air and landed easily on the water, but as soon as he landed, the water sprang up, trapping him in a sphere of water. "Now I have you," Zabuza said. "And your little team won't have any chance against me, once you're dealt with. As long as they didn't make it into my bingo book, they're not worth being called ninja. When I was their age, I already had massive amounts of blood on my hands." While Sakura especially was shocked, Naruto and Sasuke remained calm and concentrated. Kakashi looked for a method to get out of here. He could use lightning element to fry Zabuza, but that would also weaken himself, and he didn't know if the jutsu was kept by a water clone or Zabuza himself. But obviously he needed worry. Naruto was again taking action. "Shadow clone jutsu," he said, and posted 20 clones around Tazuna, Sasuke and Sakura. "Keep watch while I get Kakashi-sensei out," Naruto said. Sasuke nodded. He knew that if one of them had a chance to get their sensei out of the water sphere, it would be Naruto. As much as he hated being second best to the blonde. And then Naruto disappeared faster than he ever did before. Zabuza just had time to parry the hit with the tanto the blonde was wielding. "Fast," he brought out. "This is nothing," Naruto said, and vanished again. Zabuza was now concerned and made 10 water clones. But only 10 seconds after he had made them, they were destroyed and the water splashed back into the lake he was standing upon. And he couldn't see anything. Damn, that brat was faster than most jonin. He needed to evade a fast flurry of strikes with that damn tanto, which was seemingly chakra conducting and channeled the blonde's wind chakra. And the blonde knew how to use it. He barely managed to keep up the water prison. But when he glimpsed back, he saw Kakashi not being inside anymore, but a cloud of smoke. Instead, Kakashi and the blonde brat stood opposite of each other, going through a chain of hand seals each. "Water release, water dragon jutsu," they both exclaimed, and 2 water dragons raced at Zabuza. He just managed to dodge the 2 dragons, cursing under his breath. That wasn't part of the plan. Going up against 2 jonin. And one of them obviously a speed devil. He now was at a massive disadvantage. While he could take on Kakashi while utilizing his silent killing technique, the blonde made that jutsu useless. Additionally, you couldn't underestimate a Sharingan. Kakashi was famous for a reason. But now Kakashi seemed to have another idea how to take him out. He went through a few different seals. The blonde was covering the way to the land where his shadow clones and the other 2 were protecting the bridge builder. He needed backup. He had hoped to keep Haku out of this, but it didn't seem to be possible. He gave a secret signal that told Haku to intervene. "Lightning release, lightning torrent," Kakashi exclaimed. "Ice release, ice dome." Another voice sounded and a dome of ice appeared around Zabuza and a second figure. "So you had an accomplice hidden." I wondered if he really was a Kiri Hunter Nin, but that answers that question, Naruto said. "So you knew?" "Well, nothing else to be expected from a censor type," Zabuza said, glad that Haku had blocked the attack. "Haku, take out the blonde." "I'll take Kakashi," Zabuza said. Haku nodded. "Naruto, stop holding back and go all out," Kakashi ordered. "You sure?" Naruto asked. "Yes. If Zabuza trusts this ninja to have his back, you can be sure he is strong," Kakashi said. "Understood, sensei," Naruto said. Haku attacked Naruto fast, but Naruto was faster. While Haku went at high chunin speed, Naruto could go high jonin speed. Both boys peppered the other with senbons, shuriken and kunai. Naruto deflected all of the ones sent his way, but Haku was hit a few times. None of the senbons managed to hit a vital area, but Naruto knew the poison would soon do its job. "Ice release, 1,000 needles of death," Haku said, creating a dome of ice needles that shot at Naruto. "Water release, water encampment wall." Naruto countered the move and the needles just managed to be caught in the barrier of water. "So you're a water element too," Haku said. "You know that I can use both wind and water, but ice I've never seen." "A bloodline limit?" Naruto guessed. "Indeed. Which means you have no chance to win against me," Haku said. "Ice release, demonic ice mirrors." A dome of ice mirrors surrounded Naruto, and the water under him froze as well. He looked around and saw Haku in all of the mirrors. "Now you are doomed. Not even Zabuza-sama can break this jutsu," Haku confidently said. "We will see, Haku," Naruto replied calmly. Then he was attacked from all sides by senbons. He deflected most, but some got stuck in his legs. "A speed technique. You switch positions from one mirror to the other faster than I can see. But it's no time-space ninjutsu," Naruto analyzed. Haku was shocked, and without the hunter Nin mask Naruto would have seen it on his face. How could he analyze the jutsu so quickly? Wind release, great breakthrough, Naruto said, and not only blew away the next barrage of senbons, but also managed to make a dent into the mirror. Chakra strengthens the mirrors. That must cost you a shitload of chakra to keep up, Naruto commented. That doesn't matter, Naruto. Before I run out of chakra, you'll be dead. So you should just give up and hand over the old man. It would save your and your team's lives. Haku offered. No, thanks, Haku. I'd never just give up a mission because things get a little bit complicated. The last jutsu was just a test run. Now I know that my other jutsu can break these mirrors, he stated confidently. Not even Zabuza-sama could get out of here, Haku said. Well, then you'll just have to see if you don't believe me, Naruto said, and concentrated chakra in his hand before he threw a three-pronged kunai at a mirror and disappeared. Rasengan, he exclaimed, and pushed the spinning ball at the mirror. The mirror resisted exactly 5 seconds before rips appeared on the surface, and it finally broke into pieces. Naruto used his normal high speed to reach the other mirrors, and soon the whole dome was in shards. Impossible, Haku whispered, but was soon forced to dodge Naruto's sword attacks. Meanwhile, Zabuza was losing his cool in Kakashi's game of Copy the Demon. He completely brought Zabuza out of his cool, and in the end he nailed him with a giant waterfall jutsu and pinned him to a tree with kunai. Can you see the future? Zabuza asked, annoyed. Yes, and your future is death, Kakashi said, ramming the kunai into Zabuza's chest. He heard an outcry of pain out on the lake, and when he turned around, he saw Naruto had also ended his fight. A minute later he was walking towards the shore, carrying a bound opponent on his shoulder. Any problems, Naruto? Kakashi asked. Not really, Kakashi-sensei. But his demonic ice mirrors afforded a bit more power than I originally had thought to break, Naruto answered. Chapter 18. Naruto's Real Level. Sasuke and Sakura were shocked. Never had Naruto shown that kind of power and skill before. Sasuke was fuming in jealousy. How could Naruto be that strong? How could he become that strong? What the hell? How can you be so strong? Sakura yelled at Naruto. Training, the blonde answered. Why are you still a genin? Sasuke asked, trying to suppress his jealousy. Naruto sighed. He had hoped to avoid that discussion for a bit longer. Problems with the civilian council. They hate me for some reason, and before I wasn't strong enough to be absolutely sure they couldn't prevent me becoming a ninja, I didn't want to risk early graduation. As a ninja, the Hokage is the only one with power over me, but with the real genin test being a hurdle to take, I couldn't risk being screwed over on purpose. I could have graduated easily with 10, but then the sensei would probably have intentionally failed my team. The only one the council would never have let fail was you, Sasuke. That's the reason I pretended to be the dead last. I wanted to be placed on the same team like you to not give the council a reason to try and screw me over, Naruto said. Why would they do that? They aren't like that, Sakura protested. Naruto finally cracked. He was still high on adrenaline, and he had to keep his emotions bottled up for a long time. Yes, they are, and your mother is one of the worst members. I've been kicked out of the orphanage I lived in with 5 on orders of the council. I've been denied proper service in nearly all stores on orders of the council. I've been tried to be denied entrance to the academy on orders of the council, but as it is the ninja academy, the Hokage could simply order them to let me in there. The teachers tried to sabotage me on orders of the council. And the military police also did their very best to make my life miserable. They never persecuted anyone who beat me up. The culprits got off on flimsy excuses or were forced to pay a small fine. And they themselves were part of 98 of 100 attacks on me. You wanted to know why I dislike you. That's your reason. I can barely tolerate you. But I think holding children responsible for the sins of their parents is wrong, Naruto said icily, sealed the captured Haku in another prisoner scroll and walked away. He's lying! Kakashi-sensei, he's lying! Sakura screeched. No, he isn't, Sakura. Everything he said was the truth. Kakashi reprimanded her, shocking her. Normally, if there hadn't been prejudices against him, Naruto would already be Jonin by now. You have seen that he is much stronger than any of you. We just kept the true difference a secret to not discourage you. Naruto's strength isn't the result of some bloodline limit or secret ability his family has. It is the result of thousands of hours of blood, sweat, and tears. And Sasuke, what he said about your clan is also true. The Uchiha didn't behave honorably when Naruto was concerned. He hates your clan and he has every reason to do so. They were some of the ones that cried the loudest to have him killed for something he had no control over, and which saved the village. But he was made the scapegoat for an event the village couldn't deal with when you were still infants. So it would be in your best interest to not antagonize him," Kakashi stated. Sasuke had problems believing his sensei's words. He had adored his father and his clan, he had wanted to become like his father, but hearing that he had allowed to let a boy his age be beaten by Uchihas and other villagers didn't sit right with him. That was not honorable and didn't prove the Uchiha superiority at all. Itachi had been at odds with his father for some time. Was that the reason? When he had been little and Itachi had still been his nice big brother, he had once told him about a lonely little boy, whom he had protected by a mob of drunk villagers on the day of the Kyuubi festival. Was Naruto the boy? Itachi hadn't mentioned the boy's name, only that he didn't deserve how he was treated in the village. During their time at the academy, he hadn't spent much thought on Naruto. He had been the class clown, the dead last who couldn't even properly do the transformation jutsu. But yet here was the same boy, fighting on par with an elite jonin like Zabuza and taking out a strong ninja like that boy with the mask in a one-on-one fight like it was nothing. That masked boy was at least high Chunin level from what he had seen. And Kakashi had said Naruto was Jonin level. Damn, things were really screwed up. But perhaps Naruto was the one who could understand him. He was as lonely as him, was working hard for his goals, whatever they were, and his clan had also been massacred in the past. He was the sole survivor of the Uzumaki clan. Damn, this threw his whole perception of things apart. Kakashi then had a small bout of exhaustion which was cured by a seal Naruto took from Kakashi's pouch and placed on his neck. After a minute Kakashi was back to normal, if a bit more tired than usually. Tazuna led the subdued team to his home. While the revelations about the blonde's past had been unsettling, he knew he was safe as long as this team was close by. The rest of the journey went without further incidents. Once they reached Tazuna's home, the old man introduced them to his daughter Tsunami. She was very happy that her father had made it back safely, and had got such strong protection. Kakashi-sensei, I need to tell you some things my clones found out. Naruto said, once Tsunami has disappeared into the kitchen and Tazuna had gone to change his clothes. The scouting clones? Kakashi asked. Yes. I had them fly over the whole island to get an idea of the situation here. The villagers' situation is even worse than Tazuna described. Children are homeless on the streets, begging for some food, but nobody has anything to spare. People are forced to leave their homes by thugs if they can't pay the absurd amounts of money Gato demands as protection fees. There are nearly no fields where corn or vegetables are grown, and if they are surrounded by Gato's thugs. There are 2 locations where those thugs live, a camp on the other side of the island and a base close to this town. My clones assume that in the camp are perhaps 500 of those thugs and in the base probably the same number. Now that we have taken out Zabuza and Haku, I fear Gato could mobilize those thugs to take care of the problem that Tazuna poses himself. Naruto reported, that's really bad. And even if I called backup from Konoha, they wouldn't be here on time. Damn, that only leaves one option really. Kakashi said, and Naruto nodded. What are you talking about? Sakura asked, confused, while Sasuke's face had gone hard. Assassination. Sasuke said. Correct, Sasuke. I will have to leave you and Sakura here to protect Tazuna and his family. Naruto and I are the only ones skilled enough to take out those amounts of thugs. Barricade the house and take shifts sleeping. Naruto can leave you a few shadow clones, but he needs all his chakra for the mission. Kakashi said. We first need more detailed information on the 2 bases. The camp seems to be a normal one with tents and a few barracks. But you never know. And I also can't tell from the short investigation my clones did if there might be other ninjas Gato has hired. Naruto said. Okay. I'll send one of my summons off to Konoha to inform the Hokage. He will probably reach the village in a day if he runs the whole distance. Then we could have backup here in 2 to 3 days. Depending on how fast Gato acts, that could be just early enough for us. While the normal thugs are no problem for ninjas, these numbers are concerning. Naruto, get 20 clones to map out the base and the camp. Do you have an up-to-date bingo book? Kakashi asked and got a nod from the blonde. Naruto walked out of the house and made 40 clones, transformed them in small birds. They would transform into something else once they were near the 2 bases, and sent them on their way. Okay, I should have the information we need in 2 or 3 hours. He said. Kakashi nodded. How many of the chakra storage seals do you have fully charged, sensei? Naruto asked. 5. Well, I'll need to recharge the one I already used and I have the other 5 you gave me, but they also need to be filled. Kakashi said. You should probably do it now and then rest. But we still have a problem. If you need to use your Sharingan again, you tire too fast still. Naruto said. True, but no medic ever found a solution for me to turn off the eye. It stays activated all the time and drains my reserves more than it would normally do," Kakashi said, getting the interest of Sasuke. "How comes you have a Sharingan? Are you an Uchiha, Kakashi-sensei?" he asked. "No, I'm not. That I was a present from my best friend. It is a reminder of my biggest mistake," Kakashi said. "Stop blaming yourself for that incident. Obito wouldn't want you to beat yourself up about it. In the end you did the right thing and went with him to save Rin. It was his decision to protect you and Rin. Don't you think you would rather you honored his memory by making sure it never happens again than dwelling on the past?" Naruto asked. "You know?" Kakashi asked. "The journal? Yes. He wrote the whole incident down. He never blamed you. He was proud how you turned around and always protected your comrades." Naruto confirmed. "Thanks, Naruto," Kakashi said. The whole discussion went over the heads of Sasuke and Sakura. "What are you talking about?" Sakura asked, annoyed. "That one day you have to stop living in the past and look into the future," Kakashi said. He didn't further explain it. Naruto got the feedback from his clones 3 hours later and meditated half an hour to process it all. Then he made 2 more clones. One started drawing a map and the other took out the bingo book to look up the pages with the ninjas he had identified in Gato's hideout. The original started eating a ration bar. Once he was done with the bar, he went to Kakashi. "We have a small problem, Kakashi-sensei," Naruto said. "What kind of problem?" Kakashi asked. "Well, for one, my clones found out that Gato never planned on paying Zabuza. He intended to double-cross him as soon as Tazuna was dead. But he had 3 other ninjas there. Ninjas with IWA headbands. I don't know if they are just doing normal business with him, or if they were hired to end Zabuza's job, but they could pose a massive problem. My clone is just looking them and the 4 missing nins that I saw up in the bingo book," Naruto said. "Why are IWA ninjas a problem?" "While we were at opposite sides in the war, that was 14 years in the past," Sakura asked. "It's because who is on our team? I have a massive bounty on my head from IWA for my part in the 3rd Shinobi War. If any IWA ninja can get away with it, they'll try to take me out for sure, especially as my sensei was the 4th Hokage. They hate no other ninja as much as the Yellow Flash, even if sensei died 12 years ago when he sacrificed his life to defeat the Kyuubi. And Naruto, unfortunately from a distance, could be thought to be related to sensei. They have the same hair color. If IWA even thinks there could be a relative of the Yellow Flash, they would attack on principle just to end any possible Namikaze. You have no idea how many Yamanakas died shortly after the war just because they had a darker shade of blonde hair," Kakashi explained. "The Hokage had to change the teams that were assigned missions close to Earth Country to keep the Yamanakas away from there. I'll better change my hair color then for the mission. Perhaps red would go well. After all the Uzumakis had red hair." Naruto pondered. "No, that also doesn't work. You'll have to disguise yourself completely without relying on a jutsu. IWA ninjas are masters of spotting those. Was a major problem in the war." Kakashi refused the idea. "Okay, full body disguise it is then. Good that I have something like that in my spare clothes," Naruto said. Kakashi knew which attire that was. It was Naruto's Dark Phoenix disguise. But as long as he didn't use the name, that shouldn't be found out. Sasuke was deep in thought. Kakashi might have played it down, but was there a relation between Naruto and the Yondaime Hokage? Their faces were somewhat similar, but the faces on the Hokage monument weren't that good for comparison. He tried to remember the photo in the Hokage's office, but he had never really paid attention to it. Probably he would have to wait until they returned to Konoha to compare the two. If Naruto was a relative of the Yondaime, it would be best to not be on his bad side. Besides the fact that Naruto was already Jonin in all but name. Naruto's clone came into the room and showed them the bingo book entries. "I found who the most important ones are. Tamahara Haskaya, 39 years old, Jonin from IWA, A ranked. Specializes in wide area earth jutsus. War veteran. Bounty 15.000.000 real. Known to be brutal against anybody connected to the Yondaime Hokage. Ichikawa Sansetsu, 21 years old, Chunin from IWA, B ranked. Specializes in earth-enhanced taijutsu. Said to have a body armor comparable to granite. Bounty 1.500.000 real. Holds a grudge against Konoha for the loss of both parents in the Third War. Mikiko Kamizuri, 24 years old, Jonin from IWA, B ranked. Specialized in insect-based jutsu comparable to the Aburame clan. Bounty 3.800.000 real. Known to have sworn to kill the copy ninja. Those are the 3 from IWA. Then there were these 3 that are normal missing neens or missing neens that went to another village. The clone said and showed them 3 other pictures. Aoi Rokusho, 25 years old, Jonin from AIM. Missing neen from Konoha for treason, including theft of the sword of the Naruto Hokage. B ranked. Specialized in shooting senbons from an umbrella and kenjutsu using the sword of the lightning god. Bounty 5.000.000 real. Kimi Roino, 19 years old, former Chunin from Kiri, B+ ranked. Missing neen? Bloodline limit of poison touch. Anybody who is touched by her on bare skin is poisoned, and if not treated immediately dies if not immune against the type of poison used. Bounty 9.000.000 real. Known to work with Sabuza Momochi, Sanai no Ganaba, 20 years old, former Chunin from Kiri, A ranked. Missing neen? Bloodline limit of steel release. Can turn her whole body into steel. Also known as the living blade. Bounty 15.000.000 real. Known to work with Sabuza Momochi. The clone read out. That definitely poses a problem. If those ninjas interfere with our plan to infiltrate and assassinate the bases, it will be much harder to get this country out of Gato's grip. Were there others that weren't part of the bingo book? Kakashi asked. Yes, Aoi Rokusho has a genin team with him. Didn't look too strong to me. If we're lucky and Gato doesn't find out about Zabuza's death that soon, the IWA neens might be gone. I can't imagine somebody like Gato working with regular ninjas. Those he can't really double-cross. That would only give him trouble from their villages. Naruto said. Yes, please keep an eye on things with a few transformed clones. I don't want to get nasty surprises. I remember Mikiko. She's a hard opponent. She hates me because at the end of the war I managed to copy many of her clan's techniques and handed them over to the Aburame, the rivals of the Kamizuri. From there on, the Aburames blocked every plan of the Kamizuri. Kakashi informed his students. Meanwhile, at Gato's hideout, said business tycoon was frowning that there hadn't been any message from Zabuza. With the last information he had got, he knew that cursed bridge builder was on his way back in company of some Konoha ninja. How he hated ninjas. But to fight them you needed another ninja or overwhelming numbers. Well, he still had the 2 girls that Zabuza had left behind because he didn't think he would need more support than that Haku boy. He feared they wouldn't be as effective as Zabuza. He could ask the IWA neens that were here at the moment to take the Konoha ninjas out. They held a grudge against them since their last ninja war after all, but he wouldn't be able to cheat them out of their money. Zabuza and his entourage were easy, except for the Haku boy. All were in that bingo book, and if he double-crossed and killed them after the mission was fulfilled, nobody would look into it any closer. And through a front man he had collected some nice bounties. Aoi was a known missing neen from Konoha, so he could blame things on the Konoha ninjas, but the IWA ninjas were a problem. They had been the protection of the last shipment from one of his business partners in the land of Earth. They would return tomorrow with the returned shipment. But if the Konoha ninjas were that strong, they might be the only ones capable of taking them out. But he didn't know who Konoha had sent, and he didn't know if Zabuza had failed or if things simply took longer after the Demon Brothers had been discovered. Boss, the bridge builder was seen to come back to his home accompanied by 4 ninjas with Konoha headbands. One of his minions reported suddenly. Well, that meant Zabuza had failed. Now he needed more information. He saw the IWA ninjas standing close by. That could be a chance to get them to help without hiring them. Perhaps there was a ninja with the group that they hated enough to attack without payment. Do you have a description of the Konoha ninjas? He asked, looking for that bingo book he had organized. While he hated ninja, it was always advisable to know your enemy. Yes. There are 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl, perhaps 12 or 13 from what they look like, and 1 man. The man has silver, spiky hair and his face is mostly hidden with a face mask and his headband over 1 eye. The man reported. What? A loud scream from the female IWA ninja came. Seems like I am lucky and she has a grudge. That could work out well for me. Gato thought. Do you know that ninja? Gato asked. Do I know him? Of course I know him. That is that damn copy ninja, Kakashi Hatake. Oh, what a nice coincidence. Now I can fulfill my promise and kill him. Painfully. She said, cackling. Mikiko, don't be hasty. Our job is to protect the shipment. We need to find out more to see if it is advisable to act. While I wouldn't mind getting rid of his student, we need to still do our duty. What do the kids look like? If there are some kids from important clans that Sachikage might not mind if we returned a bit late. The leader of the team, Tamaharu, said. Tamaharu, why hesitate? There is only one team, and with how it sounds it's only Kakashi and a genin team. He will be busy protecting the kids and not fight at full power. And I also heard he slacked off the past few years and is nowhere near his former level. Mikiko argued, no reason to be careless. Kakashi Hatake is a formidable opponent. If the opportunity offers itself, you can go after him. Now how do the kids look like? Tamaharu asked. The three look like normal kids to me. The girl a bit on the thin side. She has pink hair and a ponytail, and wears a red shirt, black tight shorts and a red skirt. On her back was a white ring, perhaps a clan symbol. The first boy has black hair that looks like a duckbutt, blue shirt, white shorts, lower legs covered with white bandages, a red and white fan on the back of the shirt. The second boy has spiky blonde hair, long black pants with dark red bandages on the bottom, dark gray shirt over a dark red one with a dark red vest. Couldn't see any clan signs as I wasn't close enough. The man who saw the group told them, that could be profitable. The black-haired one is the last Uchiha, and the blonde one probably a Yamanaka. Two of the important clans of Konoha. I haven't heard about the girl's sign, probably civilian background. Alone the Uchiha in combination with killing Kakashi would be worth it. Okay, we will go after them. Let them feel safe. After Zabuza failed against them, they'll probably be on guard for 1 or 2 days, after that they'll lower their guard a bit. We can afford to wait 3 days before we strike. Mikiko, you wanted Kakashi, you can have a go at him, but Ichikawa will have your back. I'll get the 2 boys and then support you. Tamaharu said. Yes. Count your days, Kakashi, they will end soon. Mikiko cheered. Nobody noticed a small black mouse vanishing in a cloud of smoke. Shit. Naruto commented when the memory hit him. Let me guess, the IWA Nins will come after us. Kakashi said. Yes, the Kamizuri is determined to kill you and their leader wants to kidnap me and Sasuke to take us to IWA. They think that I'm a Yamanaka and know he's an Uchiha thanks to the family crest on his back. Naruto said. Any plans when the attack will happen? Kakashi asked. In 3 days. They want to lure us into feeling safe before striking. Naruto answered. Okay, that could be enough time to take out Gato and his thugs if we do this the right way. And messages from your clones that spied in the camp? Kakashi asked. Nothing bad. Only your normal thugs there. Except for their numbers we can take them out easily. Kakashi nodded. If we have to expect ninjas attacking us in 3 days we will probably have to adjust our plans a bit. The camp is on the other side of the island, meaning an hour away on ninja speed. We can use that to our advantage. Perhaps we can avoid the AIM ninjas and the Kiri missing Nins coming after us if we are fast enough. Naruto, we take out the camp and the base tonight. Can you get the maps done before then? Kakashi asked, shocking Sakura. They are being drawn by my clones at the moment. I can leave the camp to a group of 500 clones. In the dark they wouldn't be seen if they slip into the camp transformed. Once I have 1 clone close to every thug I can simply kill them. That shouldn't take more than a minute once the clones are in position. Naruto informed Kakashi. That will probably be our best bet. Without a ninja in the camp the thugs are easy prey and with your shadow clones you could make that a fast deal. Do you have chakra storage seals for yourself? Kakashi asked. 10 fully filled. I'm good in that regard. The only thing I fear is that if we act now the IWA Nins could get the idea to strike earlier. While I can fortify the house with seals that will take them at least 20 hours to break through, that will still be a narrow thing hoping for the reinforcements from Konoha. My suggestion is to take out the camp early tonight, and the base early in the morning. That way we can win a few precious hours. That would also give me the time to set up the seals. Naruto said. That makes sense. Can you make some chakra storage seals for Sasuke and Sakura? I want them to have at least 1 for emergencies. Kakashi said. No problem, sensei. Naruto said and put 2 clones to work on that. Boss, the map of the base is ready. A clone shouted. Good. Now let's see. Kakashi said, taking the map from the clone. The planning of the attack was going pretty well. The only thing that interrupted things was Naruto having to tell Inari just why his attitude was dead wrong and fatalistic. While his harsh words were hard on the boy, Kakashi knew he needed to hear them. Kakashi made sure to inform Inari just why Naruto had said what he had said and how hard his life had been and that he didn't just give up, but work to overcome his problems. By now Naruto was the strongest in his age group. Inari had a lot to think about after that talk. Chapter 19, assassination. It was just 11 and everything was quiet. Their next bigger job would be in 3 days, and until then he would be off duty. He had just finished his last guard shift and was about to shower and then turn in for the night. Tomorrow evening he would go to the brothel Gato had graciously placed in the camp. While the women they had there were nothing special and used, sometimes a man just needed a pussy to fuck. He walked towards his bunk when he felt a cut on his throat and a sharp pain, and then everything went black. Naruto's clones had taken positions since the original Naruto had given the command and produced the number of clones needed for this dirty mission. Each clone had about 2 thugs to kill. No flashy jutsus, no false bravery, just simple by-the-book assassination. Infiltration of the camp, taking position close to the targets, and then a quick kill. He would later have to deal with the effects of his kills. He theoretically knew why this was necessary. If the thugs were left alive, they would be a threat to their mission and Wave would never recover. Even if the villagers would finally wake up and stand up to Gato, these numbers were simply too much. A group of 30 thugs was one thing that a group of determined villagers could handle if they really wanted. But 1,000? No wonder that Gato had no problems controlling the people. The clones knew not to dispel until they got the signal. The original Naruto couldn't be distracted with his guilt for taking all those lives. Within 5 minutes 500 thugs had died thanks to them not suspecting anything. Only one clone dispelled, and he had only got the signal from the clones in the camp that the deed was done. He had seen nothing of the Blitz attack and would only inform the original that the job was done. Otherwise Naruto wouldn't be able to perform in the rest of the mission properly. And that would definitely end in all their deaths. It was 5 in the morning. In 1 hour shifts would be changed and fresh guards would take over. Kakashi and Naruto would enter the building from 2 sides. Both completely disguised with no insignia of a village. Naruto waited until the planned time and transformed to bypass the 2 guards undetected. Once inside the building, he went for the rooms that were his targets. The dorms of the normal thugs. They were located on the lower levels. The upper levels were the supposedly stronger thugs and the ninjas. That would be Kakashi's job. Naruto still had enough rooms to cover. With the base currently holding 400 thugs, he had 200 to kill. Once he had reached the silent corridor where the first bunch of thugs slept, he made 3 clones for each room and sent them inside. After not even a minute all the clones returned and just nodded. Meaning they had killed the thugs. Naruto repeated the performance on the next 2 floors. The last floor was a bit different. He coincidentally found Aoi Rokusho awake on that floor. Seems my hunch was correct. The hours shortly before dawn are perfectly suited for an attack. You won't kill me as easily as those common thugs, he said and took out his umbrella. Naruto knew that he should keep this mission as silent as possible, and placed a silencing seal on the wall. Now we won't disturb the others. We can be as noisy as we want to be, Naruto said. You're very delusional if you think you can defeat me. I'm a jonin, no comparison to those thugs that don't know how a ninja works. Aoi boasted. I will enjoy disillusioning you on your arrogance. You only are listed as B-ranked missing nin from Konoha because you stole the sword of the Naruto Hokage. It's the sword that's strong, not you. Naruto taunted. I'll show you just how powerful I am. You want to see the sword of the lightning god? That can be arranged. He snapped and took the sword from the belt he wore and activated it. A really impressive weapon. One that I want back. You see, that sword should have been held by the Hokage until I was old enough to use it. It is a family heirloom, Naruto revealed. Wait, the Naruto didn't have any direct descendants. Aoi said. Says who? I am his great-grandson, so that sword is mine. And I will show you another family secret. Naruto said and threw a tri-pronged kunai at Aoi and vanished in a yellow flash, already readying a Rasengan in his hand which he rammed into Aoi's gut. You see, lightning may be strong and fast, but the flying thunder god jutsu of my dad is faster, and Namikaze. Aoi croaked out, feeling his body failing. Indeed. And contrary to you I can back up Jonin rank with abilities, Naruto said, watching Aoi die. His clones meanwhile had taken care of the last thugs on the floor, and the 3 aimed genin. Naruto sealed Aoi's body in a scroll to collect his bounty later on. He then exited the building like he had discussed with Kakashi. He left a few shadow clones transformed behind to find out how Gato would react when he returned from his night at the brothel Naruto had heard him talking about. Naruto knelt in front of the loo and was vomiting. He had given his clones the command to dispel, and by now all the killings of the last night had been transferred to his mind. If other kinds of clones would have the ability to use jutsu, he would have used them. They at least didn't transfer the memories. But now he was facing the guilt for killing all those people. Sure, they were criminals that had killed, raped, beaten up and blackmailed others, but taking a life through assassination was never easy. Naruto didn't notice when Kakashi entered the bathroom and handed him a glass of water to get the remains of his vomit taste out of his mouth. It's okay, Naruto. That kind of reaction is normal after the kind of mission we did, Kakashi said. I would have been surprised if you didn't break down once you got the memories from your clones. Do you want to talk about it? Kakashi asked. Naruto looked up with his bloodshot eyes and saw that Kakashi had changed his clothes. The other ones had been bloodied from the mission. I feel so guilty. I technically know that there was no other way to protect Tazuna and his family and get us a chance to survive this mission. I also know they would have killed us in an instant, and did with others before. But I can't stop shaking. I can't stop seeing the pictures in my mind. Naruto said. Somehow the fight against Aoi was easier, as he was aware what he could do and that I would kill him if he messed up. He never had the chance because I was too fast with my first attack. I used Dad's jutsus. When I saw him, I realized that I had the chance to get Great-Grandpa's sword back. I couldn't pass up on that, and he seemed to have waited for somebody to use the hours before dawn to attack. Naruto said, I understand. The first time going out to assassinate others isn't easy. You are somewhat blessed and cursed at the same time to be so good at your job. Thanks to your shadow clones you could postpone being hit with the whole dimension of what you did last night, but now it comes back in heaps. I can only tell you what your dad told me. As long as you are capable of feeling remorse for what you had to do, you didn't lose your humanity. We are ninjas and in battle or on missions we have to kill to protect those that can't protect themselves. But I refuse to regard taking the life of a criminal that would kill innocents without a second thought as murder. It's more like putting down a rabid animal. That was after we had to take out a bandit camp that had caused trouble in Fire Country. I killed 20 bandits on that mission, 15 of them in their sleep. It's never easy. It will never really get easier. But we all know that if we don't do our job, the next ones dying won't be the criminals, but their innocent victims. Kakashi said. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto said gratefully. You're welcome, Naruto. Here, take these and sleep for some hours. They're pills to soothe your stomach, Kakashi said and held out 2 little light blue pills. Naruto nodded and gulped the pills down with some water. I'll knock myself out with one of my poisons. It will last 5 hours. Otherwise I won't be able to get any sleep, which would be fatal for me. I can guarantee that my seals will keep any attackers out for that time. If any of the ninjas should try to attack us, this is the antidote. I'll be at full strength after getting it 10 minutes later, Naruto said. You aren't immune to your own poisons? Kakashi asked, surprised. To most of them I am. Kyuubi's chakra in my system works like a natural antidote. If I have enough time to recover and don't have other dangerous injuries, I won't die from any poisoning. This one I specially developed to circumvent the Kyuubi's chakra. After I found out about the possibilities of poisons and that I was a Jinchuriki, I wanted something that could take out another Jinchuriki. I refuse to just rely on Kyuubi whenever things get dangerous. And I know that the fox's chakra is a double-edged sword. It may be incredibly powerful, but I have a high price to pay if I use it. Kyuubi is so full of hate that it will try to control me if I give in to the temptation of using its chakra. Naruto said. That's sound reasoning. Well, I'll put Sasuke and Sakura on guard, then I'll turn in myself, Kakashi said. Naruto nodded and walked to the room where he, Sasuke and Kakashi slept. He injected the sleeping poison into his vein and was soon fast asleep. 5 minutes after Naruto fell asleep, Kakashi woke up Sasuke. Come with me, Kakashi said. Sasuke stood up and followed his sensei. How did the missions go, Kakashi-sensei? He asked. It went off without problem. Naruto got rid of the Aim Genin and Aoi Rokusho. We are down 900 thugs and I captured Sanai no Gunaba and Kimi Roino, who were thankfully asleep, which I strengthened with a bit of one of Naruto's poisons that he gave me before we started, and didn't put up any resistance. They may be missing Nins from Kiri, but their bloodline limits are very valuable. If we could convince them and that Haku boy that Naruto defeated and captured to join Konoha, it would be very beneficial for the village. Either way, they could possess important information which our TNI department will find out. You and Sakura are to keep watch over the house. Tazuna can't go out today. We need to wait for backup from Konoha until we can let him continue building his bridge, Kakashi said. Understood, sensei, Sasuke said. Sakura joined them. Good morning, Sasuke, Kakashi-sensei. How was your mission? Sakura asked. A success. Sasuke can tell you more. One more thing. Wake me if we are attacked by anybody. Naruto won't wake for 5 hours. He knocked himself out with one of his poisons to be able to get some sleep. And if possible, I want him to get all the sleep he can get. Don't ask him about the mission when he wakes up. He had to assassinate hundreds. While they weren't difficult to kill, he still feels guilty for taking all those lives. You too will find out in your career that killing an opponent in a fight and assassinating somebody in their sleep are two very different things. Just let him come to terms with it. Kakashi said. Both nodded. Kakashi left them to go up and sleep for some hours as well. Gato was shell-shocked when he returned to his base. He had enjoyed a great night in one of his luxury brothels and was now ready to work on his business. Tomorrow the IWA ninjas would take out the Konoha scum and perhaps the bridge builder. If they only got that strong Konoha ninja, it would be enough. With the bridge builder on his own, his thugs could deal. And then this country would completely be his. After all, who would be able to take up 1,000 thugs at the same time? Nobody. Even those pesky ninjas tired out after some time. He didn't like the silence in the base though. Normally there should have been his minions guarding the base or preparing a new delivery of drugs that was due this afternoon. When he told his guards to see what the reason for the silence was, he got a nasty surprise. They were dead. Every single person here in the base was dead. After 1 hour he got the information that even the AIM ninjas he had in the base were dead. The genin killed in their sleep and Awa in a fight. But only his blood remained. His body couldn't be found. The former subordinates of Zabuza had also vanished, probably killed as well and their bodies taken for the bounties. Damn it all, how had this happened? He needed the IWA ninjas to act now. This couldn't be tolerated. Then he thought of his second base. He would call backup from there. These ninjas would get to know his power. While losing 400 of his subordinates hurt in power, with 600 remaining he still had more than enough manpower to keep the iron grip around Wave. And he didn't need to pay those 400 anymore. The IWA nin stood in Gato's office listening to his ranting. I want you to take them out as soon as possible. They killed 900 of my thugs last night while I was out. The whole base on the other side of the island was taken out. From what the investigation turned out, it happened even before this base was attacked. I don't care about lulling them to safety. I want them dead. I offer 1,000,000 ryo for their heads. Gato said. We would have killed Kakashi anyway, but we have a deal. Though we will take the Uchiha with us to IWA. But the Yamanaka and the girl are toast. Do you have better pictures of the group by now? Tamahara asked. Yes, we got some from closer up. Gato said and handed them the pictures of the group. The IWA nins looked over the pictures. The Uchiha and the pink-haired girl were easy to recognize now, and Kakashi was well known already. But the face of the blonde boy could not be seen on any photo. And he seemed to have taken to put up his hood. Why would he do that? Well, it didn't really matter. He would be with the others and therefore easy to find. Then Ichikawa noticed a small crest on the boy's collar. Hey, Tamaharu, isn't that the Uzumaki crest? I mean that clan from Whirlpool Country that was killed by IWA before the Third War? Ichikawa asked. Let me see. It could be, but it could also just be a decoration on his clothes. It's too small to really say. And from what I know, there were no survivors of Uzushio. And all Uzumakis had red hair, not blonde. Tamahara said. Either way, it doesn't matter if he is an Uzumaki. He is at most 13, so there would be no way he could be that good at Fuinjutsu already. You need thousands of hours of training to become really good. We should probably prepare for some seals used against us, but nothing above intermediate level. Even that bastard Namikaze needed until he was 20 to become a seal master, and he was a genius. So when do we attack? Mikiko asked eagerly. In 2 hours. We will prepare for a hard decisive strike against them. They should be at the bridge builder's house. With how many thugs they killed last night, the genin should be pretty traumatized. I didn't think Kakashi would go this far, but probably he had found out about the 2 full bases and wanted to reduce his opposition as long as he had an advantage. That's not the normal style those tree huggers use. Tamaharu commented. Yes. The other 2 answered. 2 hours later, Sakura shook Kakashi awake. Sensei, they are here. She informed him. HM? That's earlier than I thought. Don't worry, I trust Naruto's seals. Let them try getting through them for a while. If Naruto is right, they will need 20 hours to get through the seals. I had 4 hours of sleep, not bad. Kakashi commented. Should we wake Naruto? Sakura asked. No, he will wake up soon anyway. The antidote would need 10 minutes to work, and he normally will wake up in 30 minutes anyway. There is no reason to hurry. Kakashi said. Why are you so sure his seals will keep the IWA Nins out? Sakura asked. Naruto is an Uzumaki, Kakashi simply stated. About 40 minutes later, Naruto was completely awake again and was briefed on the situation. They are earlier than we thought they would be, but not overly so, Naruto stated. Yes. I don't know how fast backup from Konoha can come here. Probably not fast enough for us to avoid a fight with them. 2 of them are Jonin and 1 is a Chunin. That won't be a big problem to deal with. Normally I would take on Tamaharu and let Naruto deal with Mikiko, and Sasuke would fight Ichikawa, but with her being intent on killing me, they won't let us do it like that. So the only fight we can probably stir that way will be the one of Sasuke. The main problem will be Tamaharu and his wide-scale Earth Jutsus. Earth users in general are difficult to fight as they are really good at hiding and using the ground you walk on as their weapon, Kakashi said. His Earth Jutsus will be blocked by lightning-based seals. They hold enough chakra for 20 hours, sensei. That's the reason I said I could guarantee the seals holding for 20 hours. If I manage to sneak out later and recharge the seals, we could last longer. But recharging all the seals will probably be impossible. It takes a lot of chakra, but if we are lucky the backup will be here by then, Naruto said. So they have to get through lightning-based seals? But what if they used wind jutsus? Sakura asked. They would need a massively strong wind user to even make a dent in my seals. And wind users are really rare. Even Suna doesn't have many. The only one with higher skills is Baki. And even he doesn't have great area effect jutsus. Wind is the rarest of all elements to have, Naruto explained. How do you know so much? Sasuke asked. I read the bingo book, Naruto answered. Tazuna and his family wondered how long it would take until help would be here. Tazuna especially was really glad now that it was this team that had got the mission. To find a team like that was a very big coincidence. Who would have thought that ninjas could keep out intruders this efficiently? Outside, the IWA Nins were getting frustrated. Damn it all. We can't get through, Mikiko yelled in frustration. I want to kill Kakashi. Well, that seems to answer the question if the boy is an Uzumaki. Damn, I didn't think one had survived in Konoha. And it seems to be a prodigy if these seals are any indication, Tamaharu said, annoyed. What are we going to do? All our Earth Jutsus are stopped cold by that lightning seal barrier or whatever that may be. And even I know that there are some other seals too, Ichikawa commented. Keep your calm. No matter how good this boy is, there are limits to how long seals can constantly keep up a protection if they are based on an element. Even Yuzusho itself was worn down after 3 days, and they had chakra stored for years. Even if the boy prepared these seals beforehand and now just placed them in his whole protection array, they won't last forever if we attack them constantly. But we don't even need to. Konoha ninjas have one major weakness: they care too much. If we start attacking the civilians outside the protective sphere, they will try to protect them, Tamaharu said. Nice plan, but nope, it won't work. They heard a young voice behind them. They turned around and saw a boy, clothed completely in gray with no recognizable features thanks to a hood and lower face mask, sitting on a tree branch. So you have come out. Either you are very brave or very stupid, Tamaharu said, or I'm just a clone and a messenger, and therefore either of your theories is correct. The boy said. The IWA Nins had to admit that that would be a very probable option. What do you want? Mikiko asked. Oh, for one, I wanted to ask you to just leave. We can avoid so much hassle. Fighting would be just so troublesome, the boy said. Anara? Ichikawa thought, confused. I will kill Kakashi. No snot-nosed brat will get me to leave, Mikiko exclaimed. I feared there would be old grudges. Well, I also wanted to tell you that kidnapping the villagers won't do you any good. You're here on a mission for the Tsuchikage. If you don't return to IWA soon, he will get cranky, and the old man already has problems with his hip. That will not please him. If you add an unprovoked attack on civilians, what do you think will happen to Iwa's mission income? The boy asked. Tamaharu had to grit his teeth. The boy was right. They couldn't afford to risk losing clients if these news got out. In war, killing civilians was one thing, but while they had peace, it was something entirely else. Even their militaristic leader wouldn't accept that, especially as they couldn't just kill all witnesses that would tell about IWA being the culprit. This wasn't a sanctioned mission after all. You see, you'll lose if you attack the civilians here. It would be better if you just finish your normal mission here and return to IWA. Take the information you have collected and go, the boy said. Who do you think you are to tell us what we should do? Mikiko asked, seething. Only a messenger. Which is good. Having to fight would be so troublesome. he said and dispelled in a cloud of smoke. So he really was a clone. That looked suspiciously like a shadow clone, Ichikawa said. It was one. That boy must have massive chakra reserves to pull that off. We need to consider our way of attack. We can wear down the seals, but we don't know if it will be enough. They are very safe in there, and if we exhaust our reserves to get the barrier down, we will also lose because fighting Kakashi after having to use up Earth chakra for hours will be suicide. Tamahara said. You really think that barrier will hold that long? Ichikawa asked. You saw that shadow clone. Only those with Jonin-level chakra reserves can pull that jutsu off. And they have really good information on us. They knew what techniques we used. We can't even get one of Mikiko's bees through. They knew we would come for them, so they acted before we would. I guess they had another shadow clone spying on Gato when we decided to attack them. They got the information of how much time they would have and took out the camp and the base in one night. This team seems to be a genin team. There is no way that they could pull that off. The only one with experience in assassination is Kakashi, and even he can't manage that scale of kills on his own. There must be another specialist, or even a team that we don't know about. We need more information before we act. We can't risk losing one of us to an unauthorized fight as well, as much as I want to kill his student. Tamahara analyzed. So we are blocking them from getting out and wait until they have nothing to eat. That can take weeks. Mikiko complained. We don't have the time for that. If we had backup that could help us overpower this seal barrier, we would be able to get them. But you can be sure that Kakashi already has his call for backup reach Konoha. He is smart like that, and if they knew about us coming, we can expect to have more opposition soon. They are biding their time in there. They are obviously convinced that they can last long enough for backup from Konoha to arrive. And face it, any Chunin team would tip the scales against us. If they knew who we were before we came here, they will call for those that have the abilities to counter our specialties perfectly. They would need a high Chunin Abirame or a good fire user for Mikiko, a good lightning user against Ichikawa, and they already have Kakashi here to take on me. Or they simply send a team that has enough strength to keep you two on your toes while Kakashi and I have another battle. And don't forget that Konoha now seems to have another seal specialist. I think we can be relatively sure that the boy is an Uzumaki. Which means he will have more surprises that he didn't use yet. Tamahara continued his analyze. So we are just giving up? Mikiko asked. What else could we do that won't compromise our own mission? I can only keep up with the earth jutsus we would need to wear the lightning seals down for 4 hours. Ichikawa could do so for 2 hours. From what I estimate, those seals will manage to keep us out for about 15 hours if we went at full power against them. I read the report on the attack on Yuzushio. They needed constant wearing down of the seals that protected the village for 2 days to start fighting. And even then our ninjas fell like the flies. The only reason Yuzushio fell was that Konoha couldn't get there soon enough, and that we had more than 10 times the number of ninjas they had. And even then we lost the complete battalion that was there to the cursed Yellow Flash and the Red Devil when they arrived. The fall of Yuzushio cost IWA massively. Right now we can go back to IWA, give Tsuchikage-sama our report, and inform him that Konoha has an Uzumaki in their ranks that is damn good with seals and that there is a new assassination specialist. I don't know if that specialist is within Kakashi's team or not. It could also be that Konoha knew about Gato and his criminal activities and sent another person whose presence was concealed by that team coming here. We simply can't be sure, and we don't have the means to kill the team as long as they are holed up in there. Tamahara said. Shit, I hate it when you are right. Mikiko said. So we can probably also report that Wave won't be a good location for business for us soon. Kakashi seems to be intent on liberating the country from Gato. Otherwise he wouldn't have taken out the camp and the base. Ichikawa added. Yes, it seems like that. Tamahara agreed. What do you think about destroying the bridge at least? Mikiko asked. Not a bad idea. Perhaps we could even get them out of there to protect it. Tamahara pondered. Okay, we do it. Let's see if they won't come out then. Chapter 20. Fight for the bridge. Inside the house, Naruto was waiting for the report of his second, disguised shadow clone. When it dispelled when the IWA team left, he turned to his teammates and Sensei. Well, they have decided that trying to wear down the seals won't do them any good and that it would be suicide to try and take us out after spending that much chakra on taking out the lightning seals. They intend to inform the Tsuchikage about Konoha having an Uzumaki skilled with seals in the ranks and about a new assassination expert, though they are not sure if it is one of us or someone else. The problem is they want to destroy the bridge before they go. And I can't make enough seals in time to protect the bridge, Naruto said, grumbling. annoyed that he hadn't taken that possibility into account earlier on. So that's their last plan to get us out in the open. Our mission is to protect Tazuna until the bridge is finished. If he needs to start from scratch again, even if we take out Gato, that will cost us too much time. We will have to fight then. Sasuke, Sakura, have you loaded the chakra storage seals like I told you? Kakashi asked, looking at both of them questioningly. Both nodded. Good. Sakura, you will prepare for being Sasuke's backup when he takes out as many thugs in the village as he can. I want you to get rid of them. Try conserving chakra if you can. No normal thug will be able to get through the seals here, so Tazuna and his family are safe as long as they stay here. Sasuke, do you think you can take them out without me or Naruto backing you up? It will be your first kills. Kakashi asked. I can do it, sensei. Sasuke said confidently, silently pleased that his sensei would entrust him such a mission with only Sakura as backup. While he would have preferred to test his strength against ninjas, he had realized in their team training that he was a good distance away from being on the same level as Naruto and Kakashi. Knowing that Naruto was basically a jonin just without the experience required to get that rank was irking him to no end. But instead of complaining, he would simply train as hard as he could and close the gap over time. One day he would be as strong as Naruto, and after that Itachi would be the next one he took on. For now Naruto made a good leveling board to see how far he still had to go. Good. Don't hesitate. The thugs won't be a problem if you get them in smaller numbers, but be careful if you have more than 10 at once. Sakura, I want you to aim to kill with thrown weapons. That should be the best way for you to help at the moment. Without me or Naruto being there in an emergency, I want you to wait with close combat with bigger groups if you can avoid it. Kakashi declared sternly. Understood, sensei. Sakura said. Naruto pulled up a mask over his lower face to completely disguise his most memorable features. Are you trying to copy sensei now, Naruto? Sakura asked. No, I just can be identified too easily from the whisker marks on my face. We want to prevent IWA getting too much information on me too early on. That they know that I'm an Uzumaki and skilled in Fuinjutsu is already too much to know about me, but that couldn't be prevented. They don't need to get a good picture for their bingo books right now. I don't know if we can take them out or if they will escape, but the fight at the bridge, if we want to prevent it from being destroyed, will be hard. The less they know, the better it will be. Naruto informed the others. Why wouldn't you want to be known out there? It will give you more respect. Sasuke asked, confused. It is too early. I need more mission experience. If IWA sees me as a threat too early on, it wouldn't do me any good. I have the skills, but not the experience to take on a strong fighter. As long as they underestimate me, I can get easier wins. Being a good ninja isn't about flashy jutsus, it's about getting the mission done efficiently. You don't want to fulfill a mission but have your team heavily injured or killed. That looks extremely bad in your record. And that can happen if you are seen as too big a threat to other villages. Ask Kakashi-sensei, he went through that. Naruto replied neutrally, already going into mission mode. It's true. With how early I graduated and who my father was, I was a popular target for enemies. I intentionally got a sensei that could make sure the attempts to take me out before I got too strong would fail. Kakashi confirmed. So that is the reason you got this team. Sasuke realized. Yes. One of them. Kakashi said. Half an hour later on the bridge, Kakashi and Naruto were waiting for the IWA Nins. Like they had expected, they appeared shortly after they had arrived. So threatening to destroy the bridge did get you out of your hideout, Tamahara said triumphantly. It would have been too troublesome to have the bridge builder rebuild the whole bridge. Naruto said. With how you talk, some could think you are a Nara boy. Ichikawa said. Who knows? Naruto said, shrugging his shoulders. I call dips on Kakashi. Mikiko said gleefully. Whatever. Ichikawa, do you want the boy? I will see if Mikiko can get rid of Kakashi herself, and in case he is too strong for her, I will help her. Tamahara said. Sure. It will be great to kill this Konoha brat. Ichikawa said maliciously. Don't play, just take him out. Kakashi ordered Naruto. Yes, sensei. Naruto answered. You really think your little student can kill Ichikawa? No way. You will regret that you met us here on this mission. Mikiko sneered and let her bees out to attack Kakashi. Naruto looked at Ichikawa. He had already released all his seals and was ready to go at full speed. His opponent was a mainly earth element user, which meant he had to keep his jutsus to mostly lightning. And he was a taijutsu specialist, which he enhanced with earth chakra. Well, now his work with the lightning element seals would fully pay off. You should just give up, boy. There is no way that you can beat me. Ichikawa said. I think differently. Let me show you, Naruto said and took out his tanto. You will see why my armor is so famous. No kenjutsu user has managed to get through it. Earth armor, he said after flying through a few hand seals. Naruto took off at full speed, shocking the IWA Chunin. He used the Uzumaki style of attack and retreat, and secretly, while attacking Ichikawa with a lightning-charged tanto, he placed some of the lightning seals on his opponent's body. Ichikawa defended against Naruto's tanto attacks, but didn't notice the real danger he was in. Earth armor had one major disadvantage for the user. He was desensitized against soft contact. It was due to the armor being able to take major physical damage without injuring the user. But for a seal master like Naruto, it was perfect. Once he had placed the seals all over the body, he jumped back to get a little more distance. See, even with your lightning chakra and the tanto, you are not my league. Ichikawa taunted. No, you are not my league. Goodbye. Activate, Naruto said and made a single hand seal. The lightning storage seals unloaded all at the same time and fried his opponent's system completely. Naruto inspected that his opponent was really dead, and then sealed him into a scroll quickly before he ran over to Kakashi's fight. Kakashi had no real problems going up against the two IWA Jonin. None of them had a problematic bloodline limit, and he could counter the earth jutsus of Tamaharu without problem. His Sharingan was showing him what his opponents were planning, and so far he had landed some good blows at Mikiko, and one on Tamaharu. Hey sensei, I'm done with my opponent and here to help you. He heard Naruto's voice. Already? That was fast, Kakashi commented. For Haku you needed longer. Well, Haku had an ice bloodline limit, and we were fighting on top of a lake, he had the advantage there. Naruto stated. Wait, you beat Ichikawa in not even 3 minutes? Impossible, Mikiko shouted. What can I say? I'm good, Naruto said cheerily. Mikiko, take the boy, I'll take Kakashi. Your insects should be more suited to against him than against Kakashi with his fire jutsus frying your bees. Tamaharu ordered. Make sure you kill Kakashi. Mikiko said frowning. I will, Tamaharu said. Then let's see how you fare against the Jonin, little boy, she said and unleashed a cloud of bees. Naruto went through hand seals. Water release, water bullets. Naruto exclaimed and shot 5 quick water bullets from his mouth at his opponent. He got perhaps a third of the bees that were headed his way out of the way. The others, while getting wet, were able to continue the fight. Mikiko had completely dodged the bullets. You will have to come up with more than a few water bullets, Mikiko taunted. I did, Naruto said and went through new hand seals. Lightning release, lightning torrent. From Naruto's hands streams of lightning spread out, using the water all over the area as a conductor for the jutsu. The bees that had survived the original attack now were fried and died. Now that the annoying bees are out of the way, we can start the real fight, Naruto said and ran at Mikiko and started attacking her with his modified Tide's Fist style. Soon Naruto was sure that, like many Aburames in Konoha, Mikiko had neglected to have a strong taijutsu. Sure, she could use it, but she had relied on her insect-based jutsus to keep the opponent on a distance too much. And contrary to the Aburame bugs, the bees couldn't just suck up the chakra in their opponents. They attacked by stinging and poisoning them. Naruto disabled her muscles and in the end he landed a fatal hit to her chest, hitting her lung with a chakra strike. Kakashi was now giving Tamaharu massive problems. Before Mikiko and her bees had forced him to divide his attention between 2 opponents, now he only had to watch out for one. Kakashi was the superior fighter. That was completely obvious. While Tamaharu kept his distance, he had problems as he had to avoid looking into the Sharingan. And Kakashi was a lightning element primary, so his earth jutsus were not as effective as they were against other opponents. Kakashi led Tamaharu away from the bridge. The main intention of facing off against the IWA Nins had been to prevent damage to the bridge. Though Kakashi was surprised how easy the fight was, he had thought Tamaharu would be stronger. Kakashi was faster than Tamaharu and had the elemental advantage. Tamaharu was physically stronger, but nothing compared to Guy. They exchanged jutsus and after 5 minutes Kakashi knew enough to do a final attack to take out his opponent. He jumped away to prepare. Already exhausted, Kakashi? Tamaharu mocked. You say something? Kakashi asked, playing bored. Those childish tricks don't work on me, Kakashi. I've been a ninja when you were still in diapers, Tamaharu replied. Tamaharu went through hand seals and Kakashi copied him immediately. Both ended at the same time. Earth release, stone pillars, they called out. Around both men big pillars of stone appeared. It was exactly what Kakashi had wanted, a chance to hide undetected. He quickly made 2 shadow clones, equipped one with a chakra seal and let the other jump up to draw attention to himself. He himself meanwhile used a camouflage jutsu he had copied in the Third War from Iwa Nines. His clone with the seal went underground. His first clone was found quickly and involved Tamaharu in a fight with fast ninjutsus and some taijutsu. Meanwhile the clone underground went in position under Tamaharu. Kakashi himself was by the side, watching and preparing to deliver the last strike with his new Raikiri variant if necessary. Tamaharu first took out the not-empowered shadow clone, and then the clone from the earth broke out under him and delivered a massive strike with Raikiri. Tamaharu just managed to get away, but was hit all over the chest with a cut from the slash the clone had made. "Shit," Tamaharu said through gritted teeth. "You should just have returned to Iwa and not tried to get in the way of my team's mission." Kakashi commented, "I wouldn't have let the chance to kill his student pass by when you were here and handicapped with protecting a genin team. Who would have thought that one of them was at least high chunin?" Tamaharu commented, "You're bad that you didn't get all the relevant information." Kakashi's clone said coldly, "Well, I know I've lost, but in the end I will at least fulfill my duty to Iwa. I will take you with me into death." He shouted and then formed one hand seal that activated a seal array on his body, and he jumped at Kakashi's clone. The kamikaze attack only took 2 seconds and the clone exploded together with Tamaharu's body. The real Kakashi stepped out of his hiding place and walked up to the now dead Iwa Jonin. Naruto joined him. "A bit fanatic, wasn't he?" Naruto asked. "A bit. Too much of a grudge against sensei. He should have known that he wasn't strong enough to take me on his own when I had no problems against both him and Mikiko. He also should have known that I know about the suicide arrays of Iwa from the last war." Kakashi answered. "He definitely should have. It looks like the sealing array didn't work the way it should have done. There is a lot of his body left to be analyzed by our forensic." Naruto said, "My clone sabotaged it a bit. As I said, I know that trick. When you push a shitload of chakra into the array, the explosion isn't as strong as it should be. Your dad came up with the idea to save more of our ninjas. If you are faced with the choice of giving up chakra and perhaps save your life or dying for sure, you will choose the chakra. While we still lost 30% of those that were confronted with that trick, we could save the rest with injuries and most could return to duty after being healed at the hospital. Tsunade-sama developed a treatment that worked faster than the normal method until then. The time you had to stay at the hospital was reduced from 4 weeks to 1.5. Kakashi told Naruto. "Now let's see how Sasuke and Sakura have fared. I'll just leave some clones here to discourage any thugs that might get the same idea as the Iwa needs. Meanwhile, I will create some seals to make the bridge withstand ninja attacks in the future," Naruto said and made 10 shadow clones. "Good thinking. Let's go," Kakashi said, and both ran towards the position where Naruto felt Sasuke and Sakura being. Sasuke had to admit, killing wasn't as easy as he had thought it to be. So far he had killed 20 of the thugs, Sakura had downed 10. It wasn't that defeating them was hard, it was ridiculously easy, to be honest. No normal thug stood a chance against a well-trained genin. And he and Sakura were really well-trained by now. All of Kakashi-sensei's training from hell had had impressive effects. He had improved massively since his time at the academy. And he could take out the thugs with little effort. But the psychological effect was still hard on him. No wonder Naruto had had problems to deal with it after the mission last night that he and Kakashi-sensei had done. Naruto and his clones had taken out about 700 thugs. He had cleared one part of the village from the thugs and was working his way over to the next part. He wondered how Naruto and Kakashi were faring on the bridge. But so far nothing indicating that the Iwa Nines had had success with destroying it had happened. Just then another group of 7 thugs noticed him and started to attack. Really, why did they always use the same not working strategy? He took aim and killed 3 immediately with hits to their jugular veins. It was the easiest point to hit, and these thugs were not smart enough or fast enough to protect that point on their bodies. He saw 2 more falling to Sakura's kunais. The remaining 2 he swiftly killed after a short exchange of blows by cutting their jugular veins. It had been like this from the beginning. So far the thugs hadn't got the idea to take villagers hostage, or this would have been so much harder. And from his estimation they should be done with the thugs in the village soon. Gato should have 50 or so at the base, cleaning up while 40 kept the village oppressed. 10 were unaccounted for, most probably off to investigate the situation at the camp. Well, at least this part of the mission he was doing gave him experience. He knew he couldn't take on a Jonin yet. He would probably be able to defeat a normal Chunin that didn't have a bloodline limit. During the fight his Sharingan had finally activated. He could predict the movements of the thugs easily and had no problem evading their attacks. He had turned off his Sharingan after the first 10 minutes though, noticing that it was quite a drain on his reserves and he really didn't need them against normal thugs. He would have to train using the eyes properly later. Sasuke, the last ones are running away to the east. Do you want to pursue them? Sakura shouted from the roof. No, let them run. We have done our job for now. Sensei wanted that we kept it to the village. Sasuke answered. Okay. Sakura answered. At Tazuna's house the team met, and informed Tazuna that they had taken out nearly all the opposition that Gato could come up with. The IWA Nins are dead. They underestimated Naruto and me greatly. The bridge didn't take any damage. We managed to either take them out quickly or take the fights a short distance away. Sasuke, Sakura, how many did you get in the village? Kakashi asked. I have 25, Sakura 12. 3 got away and we didn't pursue them. Sasuke said. Good work. How are you holding up? Kakashi asked. I didn't think that it would be this hard. I knew it would be hard but not the extent of the feelings it would cause. I think killing the thugs while they were no challenge for me was what disturbed me the most. Sasuke admitted. While we fought I didn't really think about it and only concentrated on the job. But right now it's all coming back and really hard. Sakura said, being pale as a sheet. Kakashi gave both Sasuke and Sakura the same talk he had given Naruto before. He knew it was too early for a mission like this, but they didn't have a choice. The part Sasuke and Sakura had done today would normally have been a high-class C-rank mission or a low-class B-rank, depending on the strength of the thugs. The intention of this mission had been a low-class C-rank to get his team used to normal threats. So far both Sasuke and Sakura had performed admirably, even if Sakura still had her fangirl moments. Perhaps this experience would bring home what ninja life was really like and that being a fangirl had no place there. What are we going to do with Gato, Kakashi-sensei? Naruto asked. We need to kill him. He can't be allowed to escape and restart his criminal activities somewhere else. But I want to get his money to give the people of Wave back what he stole from them and to fill Konoha's coffers. We also could take over some of his business and use it for information gathering. I know some people that are specialized in that area. Kakashi said. Naruto was pretty sure he meant Root. When do you want to do that? He will try to either get more ninjas here quickly or has some thugs somewhere else waiting for his command. This probably isn't the first country he built his empire in. Wave Country was just unlucky to be perfectly suited for Gato's plans. It's isolated and not very large, doesn't have its own military and people are mostly fishermen. Naruto commented. You're right. Are you up to go back to the base in an hour? Kakashi asked. Yes, sensei. Naruto answered. Good, then make sure your equipment is ready. We will take off in 1 hour. Sasuke, Sakura, keep an eye open, but I want you to stay within the seals where you are safe. In case backup from Konoha comes, inform them about the situation. I guess I overestimated the problems we would have with the number of thugs. I honestly didn't expect us to get rid of most of them in one night, and take out the missing Nins like we did. Especially not those known to work with Zabuza. Kakashi said. The genin nodded and took places around the house to rest up. Taking out Gato and the rest of his thugs wasn't hard for Naruto and Kakashi. Following Kakashi's advice to get some practice with the sword of his great-grandfather, Naruto used it to take out the thugs at the base while Kakashi cut them down with a white chakra saber. Once they had got rid of the first wave, Naruto looked at Kakashi questioningly. I thought that saber broke years ago. He said. I had it repaired years ago, but I didn't really want to use it considering when it broke. I also relied too much on Obito's eye. While it is a great tool, I have more abilities than the Sharingan. And it's high time I get all of them back. Kakashi said. Sure thing, sensei. Naruto said, smiling under his mask. After taking out the last thugs, Kakashi and Naruto entered Gato's office, seeing the business tycoon shake in his shoes. Please spare me. I will give you everything you want. I have money, you can have as much as you want. He begged. You have nothing with which you could bribe us to spare you. You sent the IWA ninjas to kill us, trying to get rid of Tazuna's protection. That backfired. Tamahara and his team are dead. IWA will not be happy about that. Letting you live would be a liability, and you are not to be trusted, therefore your verdict is death. Kakashi said. You can't do that. Gato yelled. Like you couldn't kill Kaiza? Leaving his wife a widow and his stepson without a father? Like you couldn't suppress the people of Wave Country, forcing them to live in poverty? Naruto asked. What? Gato asked, looking in those cold blue eyes. Only once he had ever seen those eyes in his life, and they had scared him to the core. No, that can't be, He didn't have a son. He exclaimed, refusing to believe what he saw. He did, Kakashi said, and dealt the killing blow to Gato, separating his head from his body in one swift move. Seal everything that might be of worth for Konoha. I want all the documents you can find. I will take care of that safe, Kakashi said, and went to break the safe. Understood, sensei. But how did Gato know about Dad? I mean, I currently hide my features, Naruto asked. Your eyes. While they have the shape of your mother, when you are dead serious you have the same look as your father. Especially as you have exactly the same eye color. He could freeze weak people just with a look. He didn't even need to strengthen it with killing intent. Those knowing that he was way stronger than them either ran away if they could or gave up before the fight even started. There was a reason for his bingo book entry, Kakashi explained, and then got the safe open. I never heard about that, Naruto admitted. It wasn't that well known. The other villages didn't want to admit that some of their troops were so weak that they would give up if your dad only looked at them. That wasn't good for business. And only those that saw it happen could tell about it. Kakashi explained and started taking out money and documents from the safe. Okay, that makes sense, Naruto said. It took them 2 hours to seal everything in Gato's suite and office. The guy had been involved in a lot more dirty deals than they had assumed. Konoha's intelligence division would love what they had found. The next day Tazuna suddenly had a lot more helpers to build his bridge than before. The news that the Konoha team had killed all of Gato's thugs and Gato himself spread around like wildfire. Naruto took to harvesting the fields that Gato had kept under his control and sent clones all over the island to distribute food to the people. The fishermen that couldn't help with the building of the bridge were out on the sea, catching fish for the people. The children were playing carefree for the first time in years. Naruto also had a group of clones prepare a buckload of seals that would protect the bridge against damage. In the night before the bridge was officially opened, he placed his seals all over the bridge. Wave Country would become a strong ally of Konoha after this mission, and while the country didn't have any resources like ore or valuable minerals, they now had a well-going farming industry, thanks to the fields Gato had kept for him and his minions, and the fishermen would also soon make profit again. In 2 years or so the country would be back to its feet and now was indebted to Konoha, but especially to Team 7. The money Naruto and Kakashi had given back to the country which they had confiscated from Gato would also help a long way. Kakashi had informed Tazuna that he didn't need to pay Konoha for the increased difficulty of the mission. They had taken it from Gato, which Tazuna thanked Kakashi massively for. Inari had come out of his depressive mood and was now determined to be as brave as Team 7, especially Naruto, and face his problems and not run away anymore. Seeing how 4 people, 3 of them just being 12 years old, had managed to free their country had made a huge impression. Sure, Naruto and Kakashi had killed hundreds of men in their sleep, but those men had been murderers, rapists, and torturers. There was no reason to grant them mercy, as they wouldn't have done it either. 1 week after the liberation of Wave Country, the bridge was finished and a big party was held all over the island. Finally, they had hope again. Kakashi also arranged with the Wave Daimyo that Konoha would place some birds there which could be used to send a message in case Wave Country needed help again. The confidence of the people was still shaky. It would take a while for them to get back on their feet. The backup team from Konoha had consisted of 3 grumpy chunin that had been very reluctant to have to assist the team of the Demon Brat, and had taken their time getting to Wave and only arrived 2 days after the battles were over. Kakashi had dressed them down massively. If they had gone full speed, like they should have done by their orders, they would have arrived the same day the battles had been. Kakashi promised them that their less than satisfactory behavior would have consequences. Even he at his worst had never been 2 days late. If his comrades were in danger, he was the first to go full speed. There was a massive difference to be late for a D-rank mission and an A-rank. Kakashi knew that those 3 were dogs of the civilian council and had a civilian background themselves. But even Sakura was disgusted with how they had slacked in their duty to help their comrades, and her mother was on the civilian council. Kakashi had put the 3 to repair work in the village, the closest he could come to a D-rank mission currently. The 3 would stay at the village for now until a new team would take over the long-term work here. Kakashi didn't want them to prepare something before he could return and inform the Hokage about everything. And here they couldn't do much damage until he got some better suited ninjas here. He guessed with the Hokage and Danzo now cooperating he could have a team of Root here by the day after tomorrow if Danzo wasn't already preparing it. You never knew with the old Warhawk. Now Team 7 was ready to leave, and especially Inari was sad to see Naruto go. He had taken to call Naruto his big brother, which Naruto had accepted while wondering why Inari had chosen him to take that role. It was also a completely new experience for Naruto to be openly admired by people. The people knew he had played a major role in getting rid of the thugs that had been Gato's army. They knew he had fought against the IWA Nines that had threatened their bridge and killed 2 of them. He was a hero. Though Sasuke and Sakura also got much praise, their fight against the thugs in the village was talked about a lot too, and the people were very grateful to them. Thanks a lot for your super help. Thanks to all of you, our country is free again, and we can get back to living without fear. Tazuna said when Team 7 was about to go. You're welcome. If you ever need help again, don't hesitate to call Konoha. But next time please tell us the truth from the beginning. Kakashi said. Tazuna laughed heartily. I will do that, Kakashi. Sasuke, Sakura, Naruto, thank you very much for your help, especially you, Naruto. I have noticed how much it cost you to do what you did. That you took so much upon you to help a country that wasn't your own will never be forgotten by us. As you are in Uzumaki, we also have something that was found in the things our daimyo had in his palace. He wanted me to give it to you before you go. Tazuna said and handed Naruto a big scroll that had the Uzumaki crest on the side. Naruto took it from Tazuna, inspected it, and got huge eyes. That is, oh my god, thank you so much, Tazuna. I didn't think I would ever see it. Naruto said excitedly. What is that, Naruto? Sakura asked curiously. She had been much nicer to Naruto after having to kill for herself, and knowing what it meant. It is a scroll my clan made. I recognize the type of seals used. If I am right, it not only contains much of my family's scrolls, but also the clan's summoning contract. Naruto said. I only ever read scrolls where the author wrote that with the destruction of Uzushio, all the scrolls about clan jutsus of the Uzushio clans and the summoning contract of the Uzumaki clan were destroyed before the backup from Konoha could reach Uzu. To now find out that it was brought to safety here in Wave Country is incredible, Naruto said, honestly overwhelmed. Even Sasuke couldn't begrudge Naruto his feelings. He would react similarly if he suddenly got something left from his clan. And Naruto didn't have anything as far as he knew. He at least had what was saved in the compound after Itachi had killed the clan. For Naruto this would be an invaluable treasure, and keeping on good terms with Naruto would help him in the end. Naruto would be Jonin in under a year, that much was sure. The only thing he really missed to the rank was experience, and even as a green ninja he had excelled at this unexpected A-rank mission. The performance of Team 7 would lead to them getting more higher-ranked missions from now on. And to be honest, it was reassuring that they had 2 Jonins on the team. He had seen how fast things could change. A lie from the client, and suddenly a C rank turned into an A rank. He wouldn't have been able to take out Sabuza Momochi or could have faced Haku on even terms. He couldn't have killed hundreds of men in their sleep like Naruto had done to free the country. He still had a long way to go, he knew that now, but he had also seen how far he had already come. His Sharingan had activated on the mission, and Kakashi had sat him down and explained to him the lure of the eye. He had never heard about that from his clan. They had always said the Sharingan was the ultimate bloodline limit, and that it made it their right to demand respect. Kakashi had informed Sasuke that many Uchihas had been dependent on their eyes. He had only known 3 exceptions to that: Shursui, Itachi, and his mother Mikoto Uchiha. Though their eyes were powerful, they were strong without them too. Shursui had been famous for his use of the body flicker in a fight. He had driven his opponents mad while they were trying to land a hit on him. Itachi could cast genjutsu with just a finger and didn't need eye contact with his victim, and his mother had been able to replace herself with the smallest things. A leaf had been enough. Not to mention her mastery over fire jutsus. Sasuke was deeply impressed hearing those stories. He swore he wouldn't become dependent on the eyes. If Itachi was that strong without them, he needed to get there as well. When he got back to the present, he saw Naruto hugging Inari with the scroll he got secured on his back. Team 7 then took off to make their way back to Konoha in a good time. None of them heard the decision to name the bridge the Great Naruto Bridge, and to install a plaque to honor the great service Team 7 had done for Wave Country.